Is my mic working? Is the audio working? Do I have it right this time? All right, so the plan for today was just to go over this Cenk Uygur Joe Kent interview and just listen and see if Joe Kent is saying anything differently than he's been saying or saying the same thing maybe in a different way, just to see if we can get a better read on this dude. But Gary's doing another social space, so I may just pull that up and pop into that and see what's going on there. I don't know if any of you were in his socials on X last night, but that was very entertaining for me. It was quite a bit of fun. I don't know if I was like, I think I was in there for like almost 5 hours. That felt a little much, but it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun. The only problem with going over into his space is I I guess maybe I run a bit of a risk depending on how the language gets in there. Live streaming that to YouTube. I don't know if that not sure. Not sure how that would go. I guess I'm willing to take a risk. Doesn't really matter to me too much, I suppose. I rule 2530. Oh, cool, because I'm not an Xer. Not cool like that. You are. It's tough. It's tough because I would say that you're missing out, but at the same time, you're not really missing out. Audrey Unfiltered. He still won't go on Bongino's. Yeah, I know. That's never gonna happen. That is never gonna happen. But to be fair, he's only going to do podcasts for the most part that align with him, right? Because ideally, the message he wants to get out is that we need to get out of this Iran war ASAP. So I'm still not sure why he did the Mark Levin thing. I think maybe he just picked an opposing one to try to help his credibility in some way, shape, or form. So I'm I'm checking Gary's live right now. There's a few people in there at the moment. I don't know how much of a debate is necessarily happening right now. But I feel like if it was anything like last night, that could be pretty fun. And if you guys have not caught that, you should definitely catch that. I know it's what was I think it was damn near 5 hours. Hang on 1 second, I'll pull it up and tell you exactly how long that was. 5 hours and 15 minutes. Whew. Uh TX Motherboard 63. I thought his live space doesn't start until 9. No, it started at same time I went live. So it's been going for what, 10 minutes or so? But that could be a lot of fun. That could be a lot of fun. Did you guys watch the entire debate he had or discussion he had with Zach today? I tried. I really tried. I can't listen to that dude talk. It's so tough. So tough to listen to Zach talk. He has no arguments whatsoever. He has no evidence to back up any type of an attempt that he has at an argument. Blake Bednarz. I don't know if you guys remember who Blake is. He's the dude that was mainly pushing I think he still is, pushing the exploding mic theory. That dude made a post on X pretty much saying that Gary was mopping the floor with him, which was weird. But then he went on to make the point like, Of course, they're going to have Zach on because Zach sucks at debating. So they're not going to try to debate anybody else who you got and who's going to do it. You don't think Gary and other people haven't tried to have on people from your side? You don't think Gary's tried to have people like Ian Carroll come on? I'm pretty sure he wanted to have Nate on at one point, Valhalla. I would assume he would have Baron Coleman on. Like, Gary will have any of these people on. So to try to make the point like, oh, they're going to debate Zach because Zach sucks. Like, really? No, Zach is just the only one stupid enough to do it. These other guys aren't dumb enough to try to go on to Gary's show or any debate show and try to debate their stance because they don't have one. They have no arguments because it's all bullshit. So they're smart enough to avoid debate. To where Zach, I guess he thought like, oh, look, there's an opening here. Nobody's doing this. I'll be the guy to do it, and that'll get me all of the attention, regardless of how well I do. So Zach just saw an opportunity to grift, in my opinion. Because if he was operating in good faith, after how it went with Andrew Wilson, for him to not take a long, hard look at how bad he got destroyed, to just go on to Gary's show and try to basically go over the same talking points, he's not acting in good faith. He's grifting. No reasonable person could do what he did with Andrew Wilson and walk away from that and go, oh yeah, sign me up for more of that, please. Jennifer Veterans for Tooth. He does have 5 kids to support. Baseball is expensive these days, my son. He clearly was doing okay before the grift. He tried saying he's like, I don't even make that much money. I've only got like 300 some thousand subscribers. Like he's doing okay on YouTube. He's doing just fine. I don't even know what he averages. Probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 100,000 views a video. I don't watch this stuff, so I have no idea if he has sponsors or not. Does he do ad reads? I feel like he's doing just fine. Yeah, see here, I have a problem with this shit right here, Grid Snitch. I also respect him going on Gary's show. He has that going for him. You respect him for what reason? Why is that respectable? For anybody to go into a debate knowing that they have 0 arguments, that's not balls. That's a severe lack of brains. I have no respect for anybody grifting on that side. None. Not one of them. I don't care whose show they're willing to go on. No respect. They are lying on purpose for money, allegedly. Does that work? Allegedly. And I'm not playing this stupid game where I'm going to give people the benefit of the doubt. I tried that. In the beginning. Found some things out, made me feel really stupid. Not going to make that same mistake again. None of these people have any benefit of doubt from me whatsoever. We're 6 months into this thing. They have 0 evidence to any of their arguments. If they're still pushing this shit, they're not in good faith. They're not good people. They're not, oh, it seems to be honest. It seems to be like me. Like, no. He's just soft playing it is all. So no, I have no respect for them. And I don't want them to be successful. I don't want their channel to grow. I want them to go away. Samantha Richardson. Hey, you seeing this Nicole Arbor jelly file stuff? Not really, to be honest. Not really. Is that the one where she was, I don't even know. I think I watched like a short little clip of her talking, but like when it comes to Candace, guys, I don't even know what the play is anymore with Candace. Like, are we really, we're going to do a deep dive into Candace Owens for who? Who are we doing that for? Who are we exposing Candace Owens to? The Canditards? They don't give a shit. They don't care. There's nothing that you're going to be able to uncover about Candace Owens that's going to flip anybody on that side. 6 months in, guys. This is no different than left versus right. You're not going to convince them to change their mind. However, just to go back to your thing here, Samantha, like if it's really interesting, I'll definitely check it out. Would you consider it to be like very interesting? Is there a possibility that she's completely full of shit? That's another thing I'm running into a lot with our side lately. And guys, these are just my opinions. All right. It's just my opinions. But I'm seeing a lot of kind of the same thing I'm pushing back against on the Candace side happening over on our side. And I don't know if I would say it's demoralizing, but it's pretty frustrating. It's pretty frustrating to see. We just have people, because they think they can connect links, that all of a sudden we're just going to make claims that we don't really have evidence for. Samantha, it shows you how the industry operates, period. Nah, it was fake. No grape charges ever filed. No stolen wallet. It was all lies. We all fell for it. Okay, not sure. Obscure moderate. Ben, stop making the wrong people famous. I agree. I don't know why we're giving attention to these grifters. But, or giving them a I don't know. It's tough to say. It's tough to say, but like if you're going to like destroy them. No mercy. Show no mercy with these people because they would show none with you. BB Quam, Nicole Arbor is just as nuts as Candace, two peas in a pod. See, that's where I worry. Like there's a lot of incentive for people to come out with stories now, which sucks too. Because now it's, like I suppose if it's like certain sources that have been talking for a while that were close to Candace and Charlie, like I would have to take their word with a little bit more weight. But like there's a lot of incentive now for just people to come out of the woodwork and have all kinds of crazy stories. I mean, if they can verify them, that's one thing, right? But if they can't, if it's just trust me, bro, I don't know. Not a big fan of the trust me bros. Audrey Unfiltered. I like Jelly Roll and Bunny, so I've given that no attention. Okay. I don't know. I don't like I know who Jelly Roll is, right? I listened to some Jelly Roll songs, but I'm not like I don't know. I don't really like pay super hard close attention to famous people. I used to when I was younger. But as I've gotten older, like I've just like I'm slowly losing my give a fucks. Verifier Z77. Ad hominem, aka the drama scene, aka WWE. Well, I'm okay with insults. Like I'm totally cool with slinging insults back and forth. Nothing wrong with that. That's fun. You don't like that? I think that's fun. I think it's fun when you can shit talk, when you can like argue and sort of make valid points and catch somebody being retarded and then go, ha ha, you're stupid. That's fun. All in good fun. Save Smiles, another live stream. Hey. Yeah, I don't know. I'm debating on whether or not I want to get into this Shank Uger, Joe Kent thing, or if I want to hop into Gary's spaces here and see what's going on, or just back and forth, maybe a little bit of both. I'm also afraid of getting stuck in his spaces for 5 hours again. Grit's niche. Narcissists are drawn to each other, some to wait until they crash, then attack, others to grift off of them. Yeah. Candace is definitely making not a lot, but she's making a few people pretty wealthy. which also explains why Blake is trashing Zach. Blake kind of got cut out of that whole deal. He got cut out pretty early on, and he seems like he's pretty bitter about the fact that Candace hasn't brought him into the cool kids club where he can make a bunch of money off the grift. Now he's a little sour, a little bitter. Candace never used my theory. That fuckwit. Can I say that? I was trying so hard to not swear, guys, but these people, it is what it is. I have a newfound love for the words fuckwit and fucktard. TX Motherbird 63, come in the space. I'm in there, but I'm tired from last night's space. Is anybody debating yet? Are there any arguments being made or attempting to be made? Or is everybody just friendly and talking? Because it really didn't get. I mean, Eco was okay, but Eco's on a different. That dude's on a whole different level of what we're discussing. You know what I mean? It's one thing to debate somebody on points that are, you know what I mean? Like, well, I don't believe Tyler Robinson did it, or I believe somehow TPUSA is involved, and you know, but with the underlying assumption that Charlie Kirk was unalived. It's a little different when you try to debate somebody's theory when it goes beyond that to the point to where they're considering the possibility that Charlie Kirk might still be alive. Now you're entering a whole different realm of conspiracy debate, which I don't think you can even really have. All you can really do with that was what I was trying to get to in that Spaces last night, and I wanted to hear what his perception was based on what's the point. So if they're going to go through this whole thing and Charlie Kirk is fake unalived, why? What's your theory as to why anybody would do that? And it was just tough because he would try to talk and then somebody would interrupt to like counterpoint or whatever. When I really wanted to hear what his overall conspiracy idea was. But that's a whole different, like, that's not like a Diligent, like when Diligent came in, you know what I mean? There's actually a debate there, sort of. I mean, they don't have any evidence, so there's really not much of a debate, but at least they try to make like points that are founded in some type of logic to where somebody like Eco, you throw logic out the window when you're talking to a dude like that, and at that point you're almost just sort of interviewing him, trying to understand his worldview. Makes sense. Which is entertaining. Like, I'm all for listening to and I don't even view them the same necessarily in this space. Like, the people who are going to or are even considering the idea that Charlie Kirk faked his death. Like, I don't really, it's like, oh, that's so cute. You got a conspiracy theory. That's so cute. Like, that's how I view those ones, as opposed to the ones who are pushing evil and trying to bring all of this into defamation and slandering on Erica Kirk. You know what I mean? But if you're like, I think Charlie Kirk might still be alive, it's like, oh really? What? I got to hear this. What do you think's going on? So I don't have the same level of distaste for those people. Samantha Richardson, Kent quit to save his ass. He's a politician, obviously got pushed out. So here's the deal. I don't think Kent got pushed out. I don't think Kent quit to save his ass. I think Kent was looking at what was popular, where this direction was going. And I think Kent is posturing for, I don't know if it's necessarily a political run or if it's just him trying to get in good with somebody who might potentially end up becoming elected because of this, getting in a cabinet, because he's said it a few times already where he's interested, he wants to stay in national security. Well, I mean, you're going to have to get hired from somebody for that, right? So I feel like he's just posturing. It's just a career opportunity for him. He sees the writing on the wall. He sees how popular this anti-Israel, almost kind of pro-isolationist, maybe just anti-interventionist movement is going. And I think he's just taking advantage. Because if you listen to Joe Kent, it makes perfect sense. The way he's saying things and what he is saying, he's not trying to manipulate people like us. He's trying to manipulate the tards because they're using what he's saying and completely misrepresenting it. And it's either on purpose or they're not comprehending what he's saying, which would mean Joe Kent is doing somewhat of a good job masking what he's really saying versus what he kind of wants these people to hear. Because Joe Kent has said multiple times he's pretty sure that there's a slam dunk case against Tyler Robinson. He has said multiple times he doesn't have any evidence that there is a potential foreign nexus. He says there are leads that he believes were not investigated and that should have been, but doesn't go on to say what those leads were. He's not manipulating us. And by us, I mean people that have half a brain. It's just what for? The why. I feel like the why is pretty important. I just don't know that we would be able to figure it out necessarily. I mean, I have sort of a running theory, but it's just a theory. And that's very simply there's a solid chance that we lose the midterms. Okay. So if Joe Kent leaves now, he can kind of say, oh, look it, I was against this, right? I was against the war. I even resigned over it. And if we lose the midterms badly enough, I got to think there's a chance that they try to impeach and remove Donald Trump from the presidency. In which case, J.D. Vance would then become president of the United States. And I think there is a connection between Joe Kent, J.D. Vance, Peter Thiel, Tucker Carlson, few others in there. And it wouldn't surprise me at all that if that does happen, that J.D. Vance brings Joe Kent back in for some type of position. But again, that's just a theory. I'm not saying that's going to play out that way. I don't know, but it would not surprise me in the least. Audrey Unfiltered. He's fence sitting to make sure his career is set. That's another thing is the way that he's doing it. He's really good at it. He's very, very, very good at it because he's not coming out. He's not really saying anything derogatory towards Trump. You know, he's implying that he's basically been whatever word you want to use, that he's been completely corrupted or completely taken advantage of by Israel, and that he's going on this media tour to get his position out to try to reach Trump. I don't understand that. I feel like he could have just talked to JD Vance but there was a report that came out from Daily Mail today that there was somebody leaked, right? So take that with a grain of salt. Somebody leaked that JD Vance had a phone call with Netanyahu and he basically like chewed out Netanyahu over the phone saying that you lied to Trump. All of these predictions that you made about how this whole thing would go have not gone the way you said they were going to go, and they didn't go as quickly as you said they would. Something along those lines. And apparently JD Vance is the one who's negotiating with Iran right now. Not Trump. It just seems a little strange. Seems a little strange. Bronson, have you paid attention to any of the special elections going on? Looking pretty dark for midterms. The only one that I've caught was that one in Florida, but I mean that was a special election to fill in till November, right? And then from my understanding, what I've read on it anyway is that there's a solid chance that'll just flip back right come November. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see. At this point, like go out and vote, but don't get discouraged. Like don't get blackpilled that we're just going to lose. Because if people vote, like I don't get it. What are you going to vote for? even if you're like, oh, Iran war bad, I don't understand how you could. I get people not being motivated to vote and not voting. I mean, that sucks. But like this whole like people that have voted right are just all of it they're gonna vote left. Like, I mean, I don't see it. I think that would be incredibly stupid. It makes absolutely no sense. Unless you're completely retarded and super easily manipulated. Which I suppose is incredibly possible considering what we've been watching for the last 6 months. So who knows? Who knows? I mean, you can be manipulated into thinking that Charlie's wife had something to do with his unaliving. I suppose you can be manipulated into thinking that voting Democrat is good. I don't know. I'm trying not to black pill, guys. I'm trying not to be a doomer here, okay? But I'm feeling like I even put out that like it was like a hopium conspiracy theory that Joe Kent's out there just to try to steer these morons back into at least voting right wing. and I don't know, maybe that's the case, but that was some hopium I put out. Gritsnitch, I have no power. You have no power here. Khan, you have no power here. But now you do. Now you have the power, Khan. All right, is anybody in Gary's Spaces right now listening? Is it going good yet? Isn't going good. Maybe we'll just pop in. I don't know if Gary's gonna let me be a speaker again right away or not after how last night went. To be honest, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Gary's just like, maybe you can just listen for the next few. I feel like I was going pretty hard in the paint on people I shouldn't have been going hard in the paint on, but I just can't help it, guys. I can't help it. Samantha, well, you'd have to go to the spaces and catch it. You would have to go to the spaces. If it wasn't a 5-hour spaces, I mean, I could probably. Should I do that? Should I like pull up the old spaces and we can just glance over that quick? I don't know about all that. That seems like a lot of extra work for no reason. If you just go to my X and scroll on my X profile, I have it as a repost. It's not too. I mean, I don't post like a whole ton, maybe a couple of times a day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What the fuck? 5, 6. Yeah, it's like the seventh or eighth post down on my X profile. Okay, well, let's just do this. Let's pop in. Where is it? Let's pop into Gary's Spaces quick and just try to get a read on if there's anything crazy going on. Currently only 57 people. We'll see. Oh my God. Gary would let me speak again. Whoo, shit. Not even sure. What is this shit?
That he is a patsy, then I want.
I mean, you didn't say anything that I disagree with. I mean, going into this, I had no idea where this would take us. What I did know is that I'm always skeptical of the government, so I wanted to investigate this, and then it really quickly turned into a lot of debunking of just like we don't like the space was flooded so fast with the palm gun, the camera gun, the other camera gun, the like all of these things that are so dumb and so low IQ, but so many people were buying into them. And I think I didn't care if and I still don't care. If we get new evidence tomorrow that says, Kash Patel was the other shooter, he's the one who actually jumped off the roof. I know he doesn't match, but my point is, I don't care about Kash Patel, and I don't care about a single politician out there. Frankly, including Trump, so much that if I thought he was guilty of anything, that I wouldn't be the first in the wagon. And I'll tell you, I would.
Okay, guys, I have no idea what the hell that was about. No clue what that was about. We'll just exit out of that and hop back in. Like, I don't know if this, I should be able to mute my mic inside of that space so I can keep talking to you guys while we're listening. But I haven't done this before, so I'm not real sure how this works exactly. Why is it? Okay, so if I just go to start listening.
Like something else is involved here. And that's what piqued my interest. And then, just kept going. And I wanted to know what was going on. So I went to UVU. And then we had all these people that were saying, well, what about a shooter over here? What about a shooter over here? I'm like, oh, okay. So you know what? The way to fix this, because I can't definitively say a lot of the stuff that was coming up, they had people putting shooters in places that I was 99% certain either didn't make sense or didn't actually have a line of sight. They were just putting shooters anywhere and everywhere. I was like, there's not a line of sight there, but I can't definitively say from the information that we have. So you know what? I'm going to UVU. I'm going to do a couple things. Number one, that what he did was fill in everything that wasn't there when we actually did the 3D modeling, and that was the tent. And like, CJ, I'll let you talk about it in a second.
How's the volume? Can you guys hear it all right?
The time and effort that you and I, just going back and forth, went through different models to make sure that everything was accurate. All the people that you utilized on that, making sure the tent was the right height, dimensions. Like we did, I don't know, Vivian? Probably what I was only aware of probably like 10 different versions of it where we would spot little minor corrections, but I'm sure you guys did much more than that. But the point here is, yep, go ahead.
We looked at every, inch, because the drone, the drone model gave us down to the inch, basically. I think it was 1.5 inches. But we were able to look at, matter of fact, I made the tent to be 12 by 12, and I said, I don't know, man, it may be 13 by 13, but after that, it's going to be a 15 by 15. They don't sell, tents like this in different sizes. And then you got it verified that it was a 13 by 13. We redid that. The front of the tent was lifted up by 6 or 7 inches. I can't remember. I haven't looked at the model in a minute, but it was lifted up because it was on these little, these little stands, I guess, just to lift up the front of the tent so people in the back, in the amphitheater could see them, which was even difficult. But what you were saying, you're absolutely correct. We looked at every possible scenario that we could to see what angle, what trajectory, where would that be, what would be in the way. And there was only maybe 2 to 3 spots that could possibly taken a shot from. However, with like you said, I built into the model, we could change the lens to make it look more realistic. You turn it up to 74 millimeters, and then that lens, and it looks like the back of the amphitheater is like right in your face. And that's what it looks like. You said that when you were there, everything looks a lot closer than it really.
Gerald Bonachita, I got banned from Gary's channel by accident for the 2nd time. I really supported his channel, and now I don't even bother watching since I can't comment. Mods blocking the wrong people ruined it. That's crazy, dude.
The Lucy building was, I think it was the computer center, but the slope of that building,
realistic.
The slope, he would have slid off that slope. So I only came up with 2 places, and the one other place, which was to his far left, I can't remember the name of the building. I think it was around 170 yards away. Everybody walking across that crosswalk behind Charlie would have been able to see him. So it comes down to the Lucy building, and based
the
on
Sorensen building.
I'm sorry, yeah, the Sorensen building. Was that the one?
The Lossy building was where Tyler Robinson was. The Sorensen building was the place in between the trees. It's basically where Zach brought it up today. That basically Chris Martinson is
right
proposing. But yeah, you already pointed out some of this. So the my point about all this is that, what I wanted to do, and ultimately that's how you and I met. But I wanted to go there and provide everybody else the same, or at least some level of opportunity to be able to. And, we gave this thing away for free. It cost me many thousands of dollars. It cost you many
Thank you for
thousands of
freedom. I
dollars, and all we did
appreciate you
was
doing
put it
this
up.
because I
We
don't have X.
created two versions. One
Apparently we
works
don't have
with
X.
Rhino, which is a pay for
X is so
program, but
much
then we
fun.
do have a free Blender program that you guys can download this stuff. It's a 3D model, and you can play around and look for lines of sight. And again, I wanted to get this information out. But the other thing that I wanted to do that I thought was really important is get some on ground truth, which I think was, for me,
Yes,
probably
this
the
is live.
most revealing of all of this. And that is, looking at what UVU actually looked like, being able to follow the footsteps of the who I think is an alleged shitbag and murderer, that is Tyler Robinson, looking at where the gun was allegedly found and cached. I mean, all of that stuff, looking at like, you could still see the handprints where he slid off the roof, the exact spot. You could
I
still
was going to
see,
bring that up today. The
yeah, like
handprints.
there's and to me it was even mind-blowing walking up to the roof, like, oh my god, this is insane that this is
It,
that
it,
easy. There's
if
nothing.
Zach thought that there was somebody else on that building, then those handprints, they would have got them analyzed, and they would have said there was somebody else on that building. They haven't.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that debunks his thing, and even Candace's about, there was somebody else up on that roof. No, there wasn't. If we saw where it happened, I think it was Gray. He took his 360
360
stick,
cam.
yep,
Yep,
and
yep.
he put it up there, and everything was still up there. So they have fingerprints, obviously. I mean, it didn't need to be in the
Most likely
charging
DNA.
documents.
Most
Yeah,
likely DNA from that as well. It's not in the charging documents, but I find it really hard to believe there's not DNA from where that he slipped in his from the roof.
oh, absolutely. So they have that, and if
So
it's not,
yeah,
if it wasn't Tyler's, then they would have said, "Oh, there's somebody else was on that roof." They're not
Okay,
going to
so right now
charge
it's
him and keep
Gary
him
and
there and say, "Oh,
CJ that are
this is somebody
speaking.
else's handprint
I
and
don't know if you guys
DNA."
can
It's
see
not
that
going to
or not.
happen like that. I don't understand why these people out there just don't understand and can critically think and come to conclusions when it comes to these type of issues and the evidence that's out there.
yeah, and some people would push back on you and say, "Oh, well, they're making up the evidence," but that gets crazy too, because the amount of people that would have to be involved to fabricate this evidence,
Right.
and the fact that it's going to be analyzed by the defense attorneys, like, it just doesn't make sense. And not only that, like, all the alternative theories are either so complicated, so crazy, and they don't it doesn't even make it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. Like, why do you even need a why do you have
Con, you
Tyler
don't have
Robinson there,
X?
and then you
That's
have somebody else
crazy.
take the shot? Why don't you just have him take the shot?
I thought for sure
If
you'd be
you were
on
going
X.
to again, if you're going to use one caliber to kill Charlie Kirk, then why not make sure that the other gun is the exact same caliber? That's a common sense duh
Hmm.
moment. And if you're gonna frame somebody for a an assassination attempt like this, I mean, an AR-15 is what should have been used, or was most likely would have been used. I mean, there's just you can go down the rabbit hole. All of that's somewhat speculation as well. But the fact is like, I have not heard one um, alternative theory that that
I don't
makes any sense.
see
And I don't
anybody
even like, a lot of these people are like, nope, it just wasn't Tyler Robinson. Okay, then what happened? I don't know, but it wasn't
that
Tyler
would
Robinson.
bring an
That is
argument
not logical. That's not a logical response.
in here.
I agree.
Hey, Gary, let me. I see that Jen has her hand up, so forgive me, miss. I don't mean to be rude. Let me give a response if I could, just because it aligns with everything that you guys have said, and I'll drop
Yeah.
back down if that's okay.
No, go ahead.
One of the reasons that I brought up, in thinking about all this and listening to you guys, one of the reasons that I brought up all the large audience conservatives that I used to follow, giving the supporting talking points that they were talking about, trying to talk about, and how I mentioned that I knew that they had no idea what they were talking about because I did know the things that they were talking about, is that now trying to at least get up to speed and pick back up with a few different spaces here and there. what I'm finding is I'm getting attacked if I don't immediately
Miss
believe that
Miquette,
it's a Jewish
so
super conspiracy.
we
And
haven't gone
plainly,
over the
maybe it
interview
is.
yet
I'm
with
just not
Shank,
hearing
but
any
I'm pretty
arguments that
sure
fully
he
align.
says
Look, man, I understand that nobody here maybe
that
knows me. So
that it
just
seems
speaking
convincing that
flatly,
Tyler Robinson
I
did it.
aspire
It's
on
just
any
whether
given
or not
day,
he
all
did
by
it
myself,
alone.
to be an honorable man and an adult. And in just the last week, while attempting to have some sincere conversations and get at what the most reasonable talking points are, I've been accused of some pretty dumb things. Dumb things aren't going to convince me that a Jewish super conspiracy might actually be true. It's just going to make me think that the people saying that are fragile and get irritated the instant that I don't validate what they say.
No, I agree. And to me, like that was the biggest when you come at me with when I say, hey, look, here's my background. This is what I've done for the last 20 plus years. I shoot professionally. I've done it for over 20 years. I shoot long range. I teach long range for a living. Like, and this is my perspective. I don't expect you to believe it. I don't care. But when I sit there and say, hey, this is what I believe, and by the way, the palm
Is
gun
that too
doesn't make
quiet now?
sense, and you come back at with me with unhinged accusations. You're a traitor. Like what? Like how did that even like you're a traitor to this country? You are getting paid by the Jews. You're getting paid by you're a Fed. Like, dude, what are we even talking about? And when that is the response to me, and when that is constantly the response, by the way, it's like you're not even making sense. And then they won't even accept basic facts. Like you go through item by item. I've had these conversations with people. It's like, let's go item by a lot like we did with Zach today, going item by item. And let's number one, what you believe is incorrect. I'm just going to respectfully show you why what you believe is incorrect. And then we can move. But it's just this belligerent thing. Like they demand uniformity. They demand that you believe what they believe, and that should just be red flags all across the way. And if you step outside of their heterodoxy or their orthodoxy, because really that's what it is at this point, like the mainstream narrative is not
Is it
the
still louder than me?
Fed narrative. The mainstream narrative is now consumed by what basically Candace dictates. um, and if you step out of the side, that's heresy, and it's a little bonkers to me. I don't haven't been able to quite put my finger on it. Jen had something to say. Jen, jump up there.
Hey, no, I was just letting you know that I had to drop really quick and I came back. I wanted to confirm what was going on at the Prince Sultan Air Base, and we have about a dozen U.S. service members injured. So
Oh
I
wow.
had to
Okay.
drop. That's why I dropped
I'm
the
sorry. What
post.
airbase was this? You cut out.
Prince Sultan in Saudi Arabia, we have about a dozen U.S. service members injured, two critically, and President Trump is heated because they were supposed to be in a ceasefire, and I don't think the IRGC is along for the world.
You're good. Like I'm tired of messing around with them. Like let's not drag this out. Let's finish them off, and then let's let the Iranian people decide their fate going forward. That's what I want to hear.
That's
Keep
the
us.
other thing too. Just so you know, the Iranian people are actually rising up right now. We have video of the rebellion going after the IRGC, and apparently somebody got them weapons. I don't know who, but somebody got them weapons. So if you want to,
I'll start an Iranian weapons fund.
yeah,
Let's do it.
put my taxes there. But if you want to put me back as co-host,
You count
I
me out.
apologize for
Already
dropping
did.
without letting you know.
That sounds like a
Already
felony.
did.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Who's up? Who wants some of
No.
this?
By the way, I wanted to tell you, Gary, Jenna's doing a fantastic job.
She is doing a great job.
She's doing a good job. I'm
wanna-
glad that you
Look,
found something to do.
there's lots of room for improvement, but I mean overall she's doing great.
I'm horrible. I understand. Gary's perfect.
Well,
I
they
am
have immunity.
I didn't mean to start something.
No.
Hey, I see Bronson's here in the chat too.
Bronson is in the chat.
Hey, Bronson.
Nancy, you're up next.
Oh, boy.
What you got?
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, I don't understand how people could just do this 180 flip against the very people that Charlie worked so hard to get into office with Trump. It seems like
I'm
the
waiting to
Epstein
see if there's any
files thing got
pushback in here.
everybody's
I don't, it
panties in a
doesn't look,
twist,
just from the profile
but I
pictures,
don't
I don't
understand
recognize
how
anybody
they
that would
could
be
not know that those files
ready
were
to
in the Biden
argue.
admin's hands for 4 years.
Well, they did
How
know,
would they
and they did know, and that's part of this problem. That's where the hypocrisy of all this drives me crazy. It's like, why the Trump did release them. He's continuing to release them. You've gotten more Epstein files than you ever did from Biden, who had the same exact files for 4 years and
Yeah,
obfuscated, didn't release them. Now the Trump administration releases them to the public. I guess there's still more, and there should be more transparency on these things. I was upset
yeah,
as everybody
He's
else,
not,
but
Eco's not
so
fun to
far,
argue with
everything that
though.
I've seen in that, like, this is one of the like, either this was always bullshit, because what we were hearing was that there's some hard evidence in, like, I was made to believe, and I think most people would agree, like, we were going to open up these Epstein files and we're going to see videos inside, coming from a secret hidden camera inside Epstein
Inception.
Island bedroom, and we're going to see some horrific stuff, and we're going to see who's
right,
doing it, who it's being
right.
done to, and we're going to be able to prosecute them and put them,
Yeah,
uh whatever. Like, that's not what they are. What they are is a bunch of, like, nonsense for the most part. And look,
yeah,
I hope if there's information in there, I spent days and days going through them. I was like, oh my God, this is just such a waste of time. There's actually no evidence in here.
It might just still be too early. Like Diligent didn't even pop in till way late. And I'm not going to say for sure he was, but he definitely sounded pretty drunk.
Like, go through them. Um,
yeah. It's
Well,
just
the other
frustrating. I think
yeah,
that's more heartbreaking to me than anything, is to see them turn against this administration so quickly without
yeah.
any real
In
evidence.
spite of all the massive success that we've had, and the
Right.
forget about the success, how much different this country is now compared to what it was under the Biden administration. You couldn't have a clearer difference. And for people to come out and tell me, oh, you're still falling for that whole left versus right. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. You know what? Those are
Exactly.
socialists. Those are communists. Those are globalists. They want to take your freedoms. They want to institute, like, some weird new world order thing going on here. They want to take your weapons. Like, no, I'm not playing. Like, it couldn't be a clearer difference. And to sit there, like, you got to be an idiot to say that, and
Yeah.
you got to be even bigger idiot to buy that. Like, oh yeah, this is it's literally a globalist trying to come up with some edgy catchphrase to convince you to do something stupid against your own benefit. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Well, Nancy, real quick to your
No,
point, like
no,
about
go ahead.
people changing their position. I don't mind people changing their position as long as there's like a valid justification and like reason behind it. The problem I have like with the Epstein files is everyone was relatively silent on that until Trump won his second term, and then became like the talking point and the sword to
Yep.
divide the party, right? So like that's the issue I have with it. People that were silent before shouldn't be up in arms about it now because they're
Nikki for Freedom, Diligent, another one who works like Project Constitution. I, I yeah. Yeah, I was going to say I wouldn't call him as bad as Project Constitution, but what are we talking about, really? They're all bad.
wasn't like a major campaign point. Now the people around him that he brought into the administration, yes, it was a major point for them. But like, don't attribute their promises to Trump's promises.
Yeah, I wish they had handled it differently with how they introduced that whole thing because Bongino and Patel got a really bad rap.
Yeah, and
That
that's
was
one
a
thing I'll
botched.
say right
Yeah.
now is that, basically, because I remember listening to that interview about the Epstein files with Bongino and Patel, and I was like, I was pissed off. I was like, this is horseshit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they actually released the files, and I was like, the first thing I remember, like 3 4 hours into it, I was like, Dan was right. Like, there's no, he was telling us the truth. We didn't like the truth, and I don't know, maybe there's something in there somewhere, or maybe there's still something in the Epstein files that can. But we thought we thought it would just be this, like, so much proof of so much wrongdoing, and it's just not that. Um, and again, the Biden administration had those files for 4 years. We have no idea what they've done to those files. We have no idea
Exactly.
what they took out, and we have no idea what they created and put in.
What they added.
And
Yeah.
And on top of that, what they keep saying, I still hear people saying, "Oh, there's all kinds of things that prove that Trump was in the Epstein files." Well, he's in the Epstein file, or prove that Trump was doing something wrong in the Epstein.
I agree. Urban angst. Please no more Zach. Gary has infinite patience, and even he was getting frustrated. I agree. F that dude. I don't know how anybody is even wants to talk to him anymore after what happened with Andrew Wilson. Makes no sense.
It's like someone calling
It's a
Candace's
tip.
tip line. Yeah, it's like someone
Yeah,
calling Candace's tip line and saying, "Hey, I think I think the French did it, right?" Like it's and
Drewski just did a bit on Erica, didn't watch it. Drewski is hands down the ugliest white woman ever.
was in this room, and there was a child, and Trump was doing something in front of everybody. And then on top of that, I think it was the same. Was that Jarbot? Was that the same one that they were saying had happened at his golf course or his golf club?
no, there's
And
two different claims. Yeah,
okay,
there's two claims, but yeah, they're different.
so one of the claims on one of those files too is accusing Trump of something happening at a golf club that he owns. And come to find out that year that they're saying that this took place, he didn't own it for like another 2 years. So he wasn't
Mm,
even, so
yeah.
again, there are statements in there, and there are claims in there, but they're number one, a lot of them are just incorrect. A lot of them are not corroborated by anything. A lot of them are just factually and demonstrably wrong. And that's not just with Trump. I mean, there's a lot of things in there about a lot of people. Now, what I will say is pretty clear evidence. What there is evidence of is, and no one
1111 Kelly Kennedy. Whiteface pissed me off. I don't even care. Like, I don't think there should be, when it comes to like comedy and like, do whiteface, do blackface, do blackface. Who gives a shit? We're all like there's way worse things out there to get, you know what I mean? Like him making fun of Erica Kirk is one thing, but when you come out and you react to that in a way like, "Oh my god, disgusting," that just feeds them. You're better off just making fun of it like I did, where you just go, "Wow, hey, black men probably shouldn't dress up as white women. Doesn't look very good. Pretty ugly, pretty gross." Or however you want to twist it. Like you can make fun of them back without outrage or disgust. That just feeds into their shit.
Horrible to them or did something to them. So all the victims are coming forward, but none of them say anything about Trump.
I think to the contrary, they actually came out and said that he had not done anything wrong. And the attorney who prosecuted Epstein said that Trump was the only one that actually helped him prosecute Epstein.
yeah, there was definitely some exonerating evidence. And
It just sucked. Yeah, it wasn't funny. Like, oh, ooh, nailed it. So funny. Of course, I don't really Drewski's not my cup of tea anyway. But
Like right around
oh
2016,
yeah.
right when he was planning to run for presidency. Like so, like this is a data point, and I'm trademarking the operation data point for fucking Candace. And like anytime anyone uses, I get $7,000. So I'm just pointing that out. So going forward,
Can we
but
can we stop and recognize that now has been uh just completely used across the board on that side? We got Zach saying data point, we got Joe Kent saying data point, we got Candace Owens saying data point. It's a data point. It's a data point. Um, it's just a running
yeah, and
narrative
that
that's
level of messaging is non-organic, right? Like
it
like
sure
they,
doesn't
I'm
seem
sure
like
they
it.
pick up on it from each other, but you'd have to have like continued spaces or communication.
well, if you're on X and you guys should follow Sir Jar Bot. He's really cool. He was really fun last night too.
They're thinking they're like a group of whales. They're migrating in packs.
Yeah, and look, I do think that people use certain phrases in turn because that sounds convincing, even though it means nothing.
Con, I'm waiting to see how Shane Gillis reacts. They're buddies, he and Drewski. I don't know if Shane Gillis is gonna. I'm sure. I don't know. I feel like Shane would just try to avoid that.
Hey, I
What's
just
up,
wanted to
Tammy?
say, hey, Gary, great job today with that guy. I don't know how
Well,
you
thank you.
you you you've got the patience of Job. I don't know how you do it. I seriously don't know how you do it because I wanted to go through the screen and punch him in the face because he's so ridiculous. But anyways, that's just me. I'm kind of fiery person. Um, the one girl that they're trying to give like some kind of credence to, didn't she? Hasn't she like recently been indicted for like uh uh doing something with an elderly woman taking her money or something like that, and she's been like she was in a mental institution, and
Yeah.
all these things that
What are they talking about?
I mean, am I wrong about that?
Jarbot, what's
Yeah, I
do
don't
you
know
have
about the
any?
indictments, but like so Sarah Reynolds, she's kind of a known kind of false statements person. The real problem is like some of the victims, alleged victims, I put in quotes, like they're not really the victims. And this has came out during what's his name's the guy that came from Florida that was in Trump's admin, um, the DA guy. Anyways, I can't remember the top of my head. It'll come back to me. But when he was doing the closed door session with Congress, he'd said, listen, some of the victims were not good people. They were alleged victims, and we have to put them on the stand. And they're not. They were people that were basically they were alleged victims, but that were pimping their friends out for
Yeah.
$200, $2,000, right? So like he had to deal with that during the first prosecution of Epstein in 2004, 2008.
Save Smiles. Have you watched Josh Hammer's speech at CPAC? Supposedly he called out the woke right. I haven't watched it yet. No, I didn't. I caught a few clips. I think I caught like a clip of Steve Bannon, Nick Shirley, and Jack. I think that's it. But like, whoa, what a lineup.
Now that the names have been released, haven't they also now sued the Trump administration for releasing names?
Yeah, they're
Am I
talking
wrong
about
about
Epstein
that?
stuff right now,
Well, the victims' names are redacted
and I
still.
don't
So
know why.
they're worried about their names being released. So they filed lawsuits to keep their names redacted. The thing about the Massey's discharge petition is all the redactions are intended to be temporary. So that's why Congress can go behind the closed doors and see the action behind the redactions. So at some point, those redactions are all going to go away at some point in theory. But yeah.
Well, one of the things to kind of that's relevant and recent to reinforce exactly what you're saying. So the lady's voice that Project Constitution, that recording, that lady that was in there, essentially that they were saying was Erica Kirk that was recruiting someone for Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, that is a real person. I forget her name now, but at the time I had researched and found her name, and then I looked her up and looked at the story. Like that is another lady that was working for Epstein. She was an adult, and then later on, when all this stuff came out, she's actually claiming victimhood at the same time. She was essentially working as a pimp and going after these girls. The other part of this that I'm coming to realize is yes, some of these girls may have been underage. And I'm not justifying this in any way, so we're freaking clear. But I will say that I think a lot of these girls were not necessarily underage, but some of them were 18. Some of them may have even been 17 or younger. But I'm just saying they're not children. All right. So yes, it is statutory rape. It's condemned, all the things, right? So but the point is some of these people engaged in this activity willfully, and I don't know that some of them are going to come back and admit that they did these things for lots of reasons. Um, and then some of like again, there's lots of pictures. I spent days going through all the pictures that are on the Epstein files. Like there's a couple of entire um, sections that are like named Clinton and me in Southeast Asia or whatever else. And there's just all these pictures of him and Bill Clinton. And then you'll see them walking around in South Asia. And then there's a picture of Bill Clinton in this room with him. And then the next picture is like another angle of the room with just Epstein and like five girls that, they don't look like they're 12. They look like they could potentially be 18, 19, 20 years old. They're clearly young girls, right? But my point is like if there's any evidence in there that
1111 Kelly Kennedy. My ADD medication is wearing off, not Epstein again. I agree. The Epstein stuff is such a, I mean, it sucks because they were doing some pretty nefarious shit. And we're just never, there's just nothing. Nothing's ever going to come from it.
Obama, it always goes one direction, and
there's nothing we can do.
Push to take down the Trump administration.
Well,
Righteous.
can I say
Oh yes,
one
go,
more thing,
no,
Gary?
yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, Tammy. Go
Uh,
ahead.
uh, uh, I can't remember her first name. Gouffre, the one that supposedly committed suicide.
Virginia.
Yeah.
Wasn't she the one that came forward and said that Trump never did anything to anybody, and he was the one that uh, helped expose Epstein? I mean, is that am I wrong about that?
I do believe that's correct. Charbot, you seem to be pretty well informed on this.
Yeah, so she came out and said that she never saw him on the island, but it was her attorney when she was coming out in 2008 that basically came out and said that Trump was the only person of any kind of celebrity or high profile status that was willing to support them, and he supported them financially, a lot of the victims financially as well. And that has not gone reported. So he gave some of the attorneys some of the money to help fight this stuff, and during the 2008 whatever. So like he was the only one willing to give them information and talk to them. So like it goes back a long ways.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
Does
Righteous.
anybody know what year?
Hold on, Nancy. Hold on, Nancy.
Okay, sorry.
Righteous has had his hand up for a while. Go
Oh,
ahead,
sorry.
Righteous.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
I can, buddy.
Okay, so one of the things that's really interesting to me about all of this is that Trump is literally the only person in office that, one, back before he was in office, reported Epstein to the FBI.
Correct.
He was the one that was the president when the final investigation that put him in jail, and of course we all know that.
This is tough because some of these guys' mics aren't quite as powerful as other people's. So I'm trying to manage the audio here.
Ironic things that I've probably seen in recent history of the person that has done the most is actually the person that they're targeting the most as evil and wrong in this. When we, in all honesty, had Hillary Clinton won in 2016, the Epstein files would have been buried. There's no doubt in my mind, because of the connection that we're seeing with the Clintons, and everybody always kind of knew that. That would have been buried. We wouldn't have seen Epstein out in public. Honestly, it probably would have never reached the level that it did, and we certainly wouldn't have seen the files released.
Well, and if there was incriminating evidence for Trump in the
Yeah, also depending on if they have a mic or if they're just using their phone or their wireless headsets or whatever.
Amount of political capital and just crony corrupt actions that they took to try and keep him from getting in office. Do you think if they didn't have evidence within the Epstein files that wouldn't have been on every news network every night, and it would have ruined his political career? Because I mean, I wouldn't vote for him if he was raping little girls. I mean, in all honesty, that's the reality.
No,
of it.
but yep, I agree. Hey, real quick, Reg, I want to correct something because I looked this up recently, and Jarbot, you correct me if I'm incorrect. But I've been hearing that Trump reported people to the FBI.
Down in at 2866. I'd have to work on my language before I did a live. Nah, just run it, dude. Just run it.
He was contacted by during the investigation, but he did not directly contact. Like he didn't reach out to them.
Right.
And he willingly helped the prosecution in Florida to get that case. He didn't need to be subpoenaed.
That's
well,
correct.
I do believe it is correct that he banned him from Mar-a-Lago after having
that is correct.
with one of
1111 Kelly Kennedy. I'm too chicken to participate in a live debate. Worst case scenario is you sound stupid. It's really not that big of a deal. Just announce ahead of time. Just say, okay, before I start talking, just know that I'm stupid. Now you can say whatever you want and you're protected.
I think it's manufactured, in all honesty, just like everything else that we're seeing out of the Candace Owens and the Tucker Carlsons. It is a manufactured thing online to try and upend his presidency, upend the midterms. It's a psyop.
It 100% is, and it's so obvious if you know what you're looking for, and if you see what's going on with bots and these sock puppet accounts and the clear, there's no doubt that whole message and that narrative is popular, but
1111 Kelly Kennedy. Oh my, I have a sailor's mouth. I'll just cuss my way through the debate. But listen, that's how mine went. Especially with Diligent.
Like, Gary, you suck, and you're paid by Israel, and you're paid by TPUSA, and you're a traitor to this country. It's like these, and then you look at the account, and it's very clear what's going on. And when I talk to other people that are having an impact on negatively on Candace Owens, they're all experiencing the same thing. These people are oh, and by the way, what's also kind of fun is you open up that account and then you go to the replies, and it's like all the same people that are actually fighting the fight like me against Candace Owens, they've went and they've replied to all of these, and they're saying the exact same thing. And that's all they do. That's all they do. You know, it's these people, they have literally like 5,000 posts and they got 23 followers. Like, how does that happen? That doesn't even make sense. So no, there's definitely some weird things going on, and I think it's obvious. I hope we can continue to flesh that out and identify and expose what's happening. And you know, I think that's part of a challenge.
1111 Kelly Kennedy. Bronson, did you get put in the cussing corner? No, but Gary tried to rein me in a few times. Listen, when I get stuck on something, I'm like a pit bull, whether I'm right or not.
Look, it's like we can't do this by ourselves. The reason the candy cult is so effective is every single one of them is out there fighting the fight, and like you got to do that too. And whatever that looks like for you, I've told people, like, you want to start a channel, I'll help you start a channel. You like whatever I can do to help you. You're here for a reason. You're hearing what you're hearing for a reason, because you should be out there fighting it in one form or another. And there's lots of different options and different ways that you can do that. But you got to get in the fight, and you got to get as radical about saving this country as these people are about destroying this country.
100%. Hey, Gary, I'd love to talk to you offline sometime about that, because I'm getting ready to start some stuff as well. So,
yeah, DM me and we'll set up a phone call.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right, man. Nancy, go ahead. I don't know.
I'm sorry, I was rude before, did not
That's okay.
follow your protocol, but does anybody know exactly when Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago? What year that was? I think it was early 2000s.
2003, I think, if I remember.
2003.
I think.
Yeah, I couldn't remember exactly when that was. I have to be honest, when Trump first came out and said this whole thing is a hoax, the Democrats made this up, I was really kind of pissed off at first. But now, Gary, like you say, since there've been like what 3 million plus files released, it's just a bunch of garbage.
Well, it's the problem is you got to be Trump's not that articulate, right? So you kind of be careful what he says. He's not trying to say like the Epstein files themselves is a hoax. He's trying to say the Democrat using them as a tool to impeach him is the hoax,
Yeah.
right? Like
Exactly.
No,
Exactly.
actually, Trump is in the Epstein files because he's a snitch.
All right.
That's
Oh, if that was an in-person debate, what happened last night, that would not have been much of a debate. So I completely understand what you're talking about, Ramzabi fan. That would have not gone well.
As he told on Epstein, and I'll bring you up in just a second. So just hang tight, everybody. We want to try to keep some semblance of organization here. Throw a hand up. I will call on you. I promise you. Who was just talking? Nancy, you were talking, or you good to go?
I'm good. Thanks.
All right, Rosie, you're next, and then District, I'll let you get in there.
Yeah, the timing of this, you called it from the very beginning, and if we look where we are mile marker wise, we're going into April. Charlie was killed in September, and that began the rush for 26 and their push. If we notice, the Democrats have all had a very quiet exit off of the X platform. They're not very active right now. They claim to be
Ramzabi fan, chin check. I'd have kicked him in the nuts, dude. Chin check. I'm 42. I ain't got time to be messing around with shit like that. I'd have gone right for the sack.
on our own, and to get us to actually vote Democratic. That is the fog of war that we're under, and that's why the manipulation is so hard and so concentrated and just hitting us at every single angle.
At a minimum, what they're trying to do is reduce voter. Oh God,
Turnout. They're trying to suppress
so
turnout.
voter turnout, but geez, like um, everybody's voter enthusiasm, right? So like they're trying to demoralize the right. They're trying to keep people home. They're just trying to keep. Look, all they got to do to win the midterms is not very much. All they got to do is get us down a few points in the very key areas, and if we lose in those key areas, guess what? The Senate and the House are going to go to the Democrats, and we're going to have a lame duck president for the last 2 years, and it's going to be nothing but uh he's going to be impeached again for sure. It's just going to be a mess, and then everyone is going to be demoralized even further. We're going to hear all the Democrats will be in charge. They'll be running it except for the executive branch, and we're all going to be tired of the fighting. We're all going to be demoralized, and the woke right and the left are going to continue to talk about how terrible the Trump administration is, and we should just let the Democrats win.
Nikki for freedom. Gary needs to rest and recharge. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He should just keep going. He should just stop sleeping completely and just keep going. He doesn't need sleep. He's fine.
And it doesn't take much.
And Gary, don't you think the way that they're highlighting the blue victories in these like special elections, the way they're focusing that and making it look really huge and not paying attention to anything Republican win, don't you think that is another attempt to add to that talking point?
Yeah, it's that, and then from the other side of it, it's multi-prong approach here, because the other side that I see on X and I see in my comments and YouTube and everywhere else all day long is like, MAGA's been completely, everyone's abandoned Trump. Everyone's abandoned MAGA. They want you to believe that there's absolutely no chance for MAGA to succeed in the midterms. And then on top of that, like it's they're over here highlighting that the Democrats are winning. And you have just like the same people that are voting for our enemies overseas or cheering for our enemies overseas that once claimed to be Trump voters. I don't even know how you reconcile that. Like, oh yeah, thank God. Like freaking, I want the Israelis to get killed. I want Iran to win. I want our Ryan Mattis said he wants to see one of our ships sunk. Like what? Like go fuck yourself, dude. Like you're literally calling for the death of Americans because you hate Israel so much and that you're so blinded that clearly like you're a traitor. As far as I'm concerned, you're a traitor. You just called for the deaths of Americans. And that's what, like, this is beyond just a political disagreement at this point. So these same people that said they voted for Trump, allegedly, and that we're all on the Trump train, now, number one, they're cheering for our enemies. They hope Iran wins. And then on top of that, they're cheering for our political enemies that are going to destroy the.
I think he just slams pre-workout all day.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I just
You're
wanted to
welcome.
say something. Thank you for letting me speak in the space. I need
You're
y'all to
welcome.
remember and hear me out. Do y'all know that John became a senior at 7?
It's probably got a ton of niacin in it too, which is why he's red all the time.
Dad got shot. He been a senior ever since 6, I want to say, right? Remember he came out the cat. Remember? His
I
dad
don't
died. He's
know
no
that I know
longer
that
a
guy.
junior. He's a senior.
Okay.
He's just 24/7 amped up on pre-workout and his skin's just constantly crawling. Makes sense if you think about it.
Oh, okay. John F. Okay. Okay.
He's a senior. He's not a junior. He's been a senior
That's correct.
ever since he was 6, right? When his dad got shot, was he 5 or 6 or something like that, right? So focus on that, and once you know that, now you gotta like, wait
Wait,
a
wait, 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 wait.
minute.
Real quick, just so I'm clear what you're saying. So John F. Kennedy was shot while he was president, and then we have John.
I rule 2530. I get severe reaction to niacin. I do too. I like it.
You're right. He's no
No,
No,
longer a
he
junior.
becomes
He's a
no,
he
senior.
becomes
he's
He's
still
still a
John
little
F.
boy, but he's a senior.
No, no,
He's
no, no. Like
seniority.
junior.
He's not no longer junior. He's senior.
No, no. That I'm a
What do you
junior.
think? So you still gonna be a junior
Yes.
if your
It's just
father is shot?
just like if
So
you're
how you become a senior? We become a senior citizen? Is that what you're saying? Is that what
no
y'all
that
doing over
that hold on. I'm going to clarify this for you. What I'm saying is, just like me, I'm a junior. That is part of that's literally on my birth certificate. That is my name. Just like if somebody is John F. Kennedy the third If their father dies, they don't become the second. Like, it doesn't work.
Aw, guys, that's cute. Gary's a junior. I didn't know that. Aw.
I didn't say Roman. I said junior, senior. I didn't say that. See what you're doing. You're the second. That's different. So that means if
No,
you're the
I'm not the
second, that's
no.
already a
I'm not,
senior
what I'm
or a
saying
junior.
is I'm not the second. I'm a junior, and that is on my birth certificate. Junior is
Right.
my
Is your father still alive?
Aw, that's
it's
so
my
cute.
legal name.
Right. That's
What's
your name. But is your father still alive?
if he died tomorrow? He is, but if he died tomorrow, he would still be. I would
You
still
would
be.
become a senior, sir. Call your dad. Put him on the phone.
No, I'm not. I'm not calling my dad. I know this. I don't need to.
Hey, what the fuck did I miss? How did we get here?
I just wanted to let y'all know that if you don't want to, just do it. Just do it on your downtime with your father. He'd be like, "Yeah, that's true." Whoever told you that, then you're gonna be like, "Oh, that's a smurf." Okay. Anywho,
Did we
Yeah.
lose her?
Oh, she'll
Yeah.
keep doing that. She'll just go all night long.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
What?
Righteous, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's key about the midterms is, and this is something that I'm growing so weary of being accused of just being a shill for Israel every time that I say something on a post or something like that. I said something about Sean Ryan in a post earlier and immediately got attacked for being an Israel shill, and it had nothing to do with that, because so many of these people in these spaces are now saying, well, we're not voting in the midterms. We're not voting in the midterms. Like the Nick Fuentes, I'm going to
Shut
take
up,
my ball and
bitch.
go home
Woo.
because I'm a petulant child. And they don't understand how politics work. If you guys, and I would give this as advice to everybody on this call and encourage everybody, where you change a party is in the midterm, or is in the primaries. You have to vote in primaries, and that is something that we always miss 100%, is that the way you get rid of rhinos, the way you get rid of establishment is in the primaries. We saw that in Texas this year with Brandon Herrera and Tony Gonzalez. All of these things that's the most important thing for us, because once you get to the general, if you're going to say, I'm going to vote Democrat, then you're not a serious person. You're not conservative, first of all. You're not a serious person. You have no idea what you're talking about. If the Democrats get control of the Senate and the House, they will instantaneously, it will be 2 years of impeachment, impeachment, impeachment. They'll probably get him this time, especially if they have the Senate. And then it's going to be just demoralization on our side. And these quote unquote conservative talking heads like the Candace Owens and the Tucker Carlsons are going to be constantly.
I don't know who that was, but I'm really glad that they hopped into the spaces, because without her, we may have never known that Gary was a junior.
To try and push us into this nihilistic view of conservatism, and eventually
Voters that are extremely persuadable. They're not as rock solid in conservative values that we are. There's a lot of people that decided, a lot of these people that left the left for Trump can go right back to the left real quick, and they will. And I want to push back on you. Not
KKQ4E. Did I die and wake up in hell? What are we listening to? Okay, so it's in X Spaces, and the topic of the X Space is that the debate continues. Charlie Kirk, fact versus fiction. So far, nobody has come in and wanted to argue against Gary. Oh no, that woman's back. Anyway, so I'm just waiting for things to get good and try to jump in here and stir the shit a little bit.
was elected. Now suddenly he is the new opposition and criticizing Trump. And that's where popularity is. It's all, that's why all of these people, for one reason, but pushing against the current administration, because these people have definitely are on, basically, like, a lot of these people, what they're saying is indistinguishable from what the left is saying. And
Yeah. And I think honestly, I clarify that. I completely agree with you and Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes is a very he's a snake, and he understands exactly what he's doing. Every move that he makes is calculated, and he's going with what he feels he can move, how he can.
Nick Fuentes might be a snake, but that little fucker is right a lot.
I would say like the podcast bros, and the Sean Ryan would be one of those guys. I'm not a podcast bro, but I don't think that he fully understands when you say, "Oh, I'm just not going to vote," what effect that has on people, because we're right in the middle of a primary season, and it's important that people get out and vote. And turn some of these corrupt people on our side over and get some.
GS70 Stealth. I love debate, not an echo chamber that all agrees on everything. So a little mix in the space is great. I agree. Like if we don't start getting some type of pushback in there, I might just devil's advocate something just for shits and giggles and pretend like I really mean it just to see if I can get somebody going, I guess. I don't know. Maybe not. That's a little disingenuous, but for fun, for funsies.
The podcast bros are also just clearly dishonest, because it's okay. Like, I can criticize Trump. There's definitely things about the Trump administration that I will happily criticize. But if all you do is talk, criticize, and you don't go back and say, especially these people who are like, we got to close the border. And now that the border, now we're a year.
Like, I'm half tempted just to jump in there and just disagree with Gary on something.
Of the Trump administration, but all we do is talk about Epstein files. We talk about, because we ran into issues with deportations in Minnesota, they want you to believe that there's no
Run up in there.
there was like 800,000 or something like that deported last year in Texas alone. But you don't hear about it, and there's no controversy. So if there's no controversy, people don't think it's actually happening. And that is because in places where, there's civilized grown adults that are running a state, they're working with local and local law enforcement. ICE is, and it's quietly done. They have local law enforcement go pick them up. They throw them in a wagon. They take them, I don't know, to a plane, to a holding facility, to the border, and kick them in the butt and say, get out of the country. And but if we don't have controversy and it's not in the news every single day, then apparently it's not happening.
Well, and that is funny, because I heard somebody on a podcast.
Melody, Bronson can't be at peace without chaos. You got me.
Chair. Because like, there's no world in which that statement can exist.
Well, it can't. If you're a Democrat and you believe that we should be flooded with non-Americans, then I guess they did do better on the border, because that's what took.
Right.
YB from Holworthy. What is the point to disagree just to disagree? You tripping just for fun? Like you've never argued like from a different perspective that you don't necessarily agree with. So it's actually a really good way to practice arguing. And it's fun. It's fun to try to argue points that you might not agree with. It also maybe either helps solidify what you actually believe, or it challenges what you actually believe. And it's fun.
And the fact is, we won't ever know how many people came in, for sure, because there was no way to track them. It wasn't being tracked.
Yep, 100%.
Yep. Rosie, you're up next.
Hey, just when talking about Fuentes, I go back to when he went to Mar-a-Lago with Kanye West. I didn't know who he was from a hole in the wall, but I knew he was no good from that point forward. And when we looked what he did with the tapes and everything else, he is positioned and pawned.
I should just go in and be like, why all the hate on Fuentes? And just let him run.
About your podcast and that he'd like to debate you, and he scheduled a space. So if he's in here, perhaps Blake would like to come up. Just a thought.
Sure. No, Blake is in here. I'll have him up right after district.
Oh, is that Blake Bednar's? We got Blake's dumbass in here? Okay. All right. Okay. Here we go.
Eddie Murphy and Charlie Sheen, they work right with the Trump administration. And Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is the one that shot that lady in the face in Minnesota. Come on.
Tom Cruise shot the lady in the face?
Yeah. Remember, right hand. If you look up the statistic of the right to bear arm, the motherfucker right hand.
Yeah.
Can I exercise my ability to eject?
Yes, please do. I was going to, but I'll give you the pleasure. Blake, did you want to talk? I'll invite you to speak.
I wanted to hear the Tom Cruise story.
Micah, would like to talk? Go ahead, Micah. Oh, I guess I gotta add you as speaker. That helps, huh? Micah, You're up, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I pressed the microphone because Blake was coming up. That's what I heard. And Blake,
Yep.
the what I want to say about Blake is he's got this shape charge, and he's he's not understanding what a shape charge, what those things were created for, and what their intentions of those things are, right? And like there was no explosive because explosives have the air and gases when they explode it moves uniformly, right? So there wouldn't be chain.
Listen, I think Gary's had his patience tested enough today. I don't know if he would appreciate me going in there. It's just fucking with him.
And I'm just saying that these chain impressions, right, from the front view, it's the cross
But
pendant. I
I
have it
want
all day
to.
posted, and it's going up, and then all of a sudden it goes the other way, and you could actually see the necklace supersized impressions from the air whipping through it at supersonic speed. It was a high velocity caliber, and I do believe that I have this solved, and I don't speculate. I I'm somewhat educated in terminal ballistics. I'm not I don't have credentials. This was a long time ago when I studied it, like 20 years ago. But I'm just hoping that you guys could understand
Yeah, that exploding mic theory is so retarded.
was Delta.
Yep.
And
Delta
if
Kilo.
you guys can message me, I think we could, if you guys are serious, because, and I do want to apologize to the host. I probably was one of the people that called. I'm under Clyde Max 369, right? That account, I'll get it back in 3 days. And I don't know if you have me blocked on there, but I do want to apologize to you because I probably did say your Fed stop. Anybody that ignores me, and I know you probably didn't do it on purpose. You probably never even seen my stuff. I'm just a regular person, and I just want to say, after listening to you today, I do want to say that I think you're serious, and I think you really want to figure this out. And I'm just gonna just keep it right here. I think I have it solved. I can show you. I'll post it all again right now. I have Frank's phone. It doesn't matter what he's looking at. The only thing that matters is what's geometrically correct. You can tell where the what is it called? The muzzle blast is from a
Yeah.
reflection, right? On his phone, it is geometrically correct. I did a. I'm sorry. I'm just like really nervous here.
That's okay. Calm
Uh,
down. You're good,
listen,
man.
all right. Listen, I started out with the protrusion in his neck. People want to know why his neck went forward from that front view, but I always show you have to do a frame by frame analysis and a chrono
I mean, the dude did say he was nervous.
view, and that's the first frame of initial disturbance. His head's
Yeah.
going forward because it's already penetrating from the back left 93 degrees counterclockwise if we were using his Adams apple as a reference for zero. Now, before I figured
Well,
I would assume he's probably never actually watched Gary maybe until today. He just heard what everybody else said about Gary.
we're clear. So basically, what you're saying is that he was shot from the rear. Is that what you're proposing here?
yeah, at an oblique lateral angle
Okay.
because
So I guess we're going to the SUV. Is that correct? Is that what you're
no
saying?
sir, no
Okay.
sir, other side, his left. We're gonna always use the victim's left and right.
Okay.
So his left, right. Sorry about that. Let me not say right. His left, 93 degrees counterclockwise if we're using the Adam's apple as a reference for zero. And I'll tell you exactly where it's at. It's underneath the U and the V, right in between, in the word or the acronym UVU that's on the windows to his left. And it took me
It sounds like traffic.
debunk Tyler Robinson, the shot, basing everything that we can see from the observation on terminal ballistics principles and ballistics trauma data. Like there's data backing up what I'm showing with the protrusion and how it's higher than and how everything occurred first. I don't want to get into all that, right? Let's just I'm just gonna give you the
Well,
numbers.
yeah. So like, I'm getting the highlights. Do me a favor, Micah. This is a conversation that after today, I don't necessarily know that I have the after 6 hours of talking to Zach. I don't know that I have the patience to go through this, but if you send that to me, I will take a look at it, and on another day, I
Yeah,
can
yeah. Can you
I'll
can you
entertain
send
it
like
more. I'll just
Gary,
tell
I
you,
don't.
man. I'll just tell you right now. I've been shooting for a long time. I was a sniper with the initial push into Iraq. I've been shooting professionally for over 20 years. I teach long range for a living. I do ballistics.
Craftsman Ethos, thanks for the $10 super chat. Ask the guy which shape was the shape charge. Was it like a square? How can he prove which shape has the best aerodynamics? You guys are trying to get me in trouble. You guys are trying to get me in trouble. That is so rude. I don't know if I think I have to put my hand up. Let me see. Okay. We'll try this, guys. Mandy. Oh my God, is anybody else's brain hurting? Yes, mine is. Yes.
ballistics principle stating that a bullet, even from a 30-06, can
Mm,
deflect off the spine, and
sure.
and for that front left, it's a frontal left exit, and the wound is a D-shaped wound before it fully opens up.
You
That
say
is
it was a
almost always
D-shaped
a
wound?
exit,
This is amazing.
because if it entered, it was probably from a deflection off the wall or something.
1111 Kelly Kennedy, you are a rock star. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And thank you for the $10 donation.
Initial disturbance always that left back shoulder. Do you agree with that?
I can't. There were several things that you said that I don't agree with,
He is a shape.
but I'm not sure
Oh, okay.
what you're asking me.
And a letter.
What I agree with. I mean, there's some things that I would
Because
just
I
allow.
did
I
a
would cede.
go ahead.
Here's what I will say. You said there's data. Data isn't evidence, and just because there's data doesn't mean that it proves one thing or another. I mean, I'm so tired of the word data
I'm
at
gonna
this
feel
point.
like
Yeah, there's lots.
I'm gonna feel like such an ass and stupid asking this question, guys. I hope you know that.
Even if we say something is evidence, it's not proof. And what we determine as proof is a preponderance of evidence that says it leads to one conclusion. And that's what we need from this. So
Okay.
I hear you, and it sounds like you've put a lot of time and work into this. And I
Yeah.
any other day,
Um.
I would have a little bit more.
All right.
Anyways,
I'll just
DM
say
me.
one more last thing, and
Yeah, go ahead.
that's okay with you.
Yeah, yeah,
All right. Yeah. So if we're working in science, right? Because there's science involved. I'm gonna
yeah.
present. Where can I present you this at? Do I do it in a thread, or I don't think I can
Send
message you.
no, send it to me. Send it to me in the DM, whatever you
I think
got. I'll take a look at it. I look any other day. I would literally send you a Streamyard link, and I
uh,
would let you present it either to me just personally, like doing a Zoom call, or
yes, sir.
would even let you come onto a live, and we'd go through and talk about why it may be right, and then I would show you why it's most likely wrong. But send me a DM, and then we'll carry the conversation from there. How about that?
Yes, sir. And
Gary, one quick thing. Did
Yeah.
you say? Did your guest say that it was coming from where the glass is, where it says you?
Oh, CJ just cut right in. Maybe I'll just cut in.
he's on the ground level. He's on the ground level. The barrel. I don't know if he has it on the side of the camera, but it's a cameraman, and it's not Andrew Faraci. It's the guy to
Gotcha.
Charlie's left, and
Got
it's
it.
at 4.5 feet is where I have it at elevation, and it
Okay.
struck the victim at 5.5 feet elevation. That's a 1 foot differential, so it's a 3.6 degree angle per 17
And
yards.
and
That
and
perfectly bypasses.
nobody that close with all the attention on Charlie Kirk and nobody saw a flash, nobody heard anything, nobody saw anything. That's
Oh, that's
Micah.
what I was saying.
Charlie was
Micah,
6.5 feet up in the air. His neck
yeah,
line was 6.5 feet.
Micah, send that to me. Send that to me,
Okay.
and I'll sit down with you and we'll go through it. Bronson, you're next, man.
Hey, can you hear me? Okay.
I can.
Okay. I just
You're
had a
cl-
quick question for Micah.
Oh dear
What
God! Why do you
shape
do this to me?
what shape was the shape charge, and what's like the best shape that has like that's the most aerodynamic? Just curious.
I think that's going to be actually a question for Blake, but go ahead, Micah, if you want to respond to that regarding the shape charge and his question.
You fuckers.
Directional, the way that it shoots the jet stream, but an explosion in general is the air and gases are moving uniformly, and I was stating that there was no way that
Oh boy.
it was an explosion when the chain pops up. That's the cross impressions, right? And that crater that somebody's calling it a crater, you guys know what I'm talking about. That first frame of initial disturbance,
Yeah.
that's from the chain hanging there, right? And if you think about the chain hanging
Gary's
down
not
like
going
a
to talk to me
U,
anymore. That's what you
and when
guys
it
just
gets
did. I hope you know that.
from the temporary cavity on the left back shoulder, when it gets snagged simultaneously, it's almost, I don't know how to explain it correctly, like as I want to right now, but
That's fine. I think this is more of a question for you're rejecting the idea that it was an exploding mic to begin with, right, Micah?
yes, sir. Yes,
See,
sir.
at least we can
Oh,
agree on that.
can you see my profile picture right there?
I can.
Okay. Now, that
Great.
line.
So now I got to
I
ask
don't want to go
Blake
back
this
into the
same
discussion.
question.
You and I will do that another time for sure.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's the angle right there. Look, that's the angle I worked out, and this is following terminal ballistics principles. You know what I'm saying?
What is terminal ballistics?
Terminal ballistics starts at impact when the bullet or projectile strikes the
That's
target,
correct. All right. I just want
and
to make
yeah,
sure you were at least
and it
using the
goes.
term.
Yes, sir. And I do have secondary. Listen, they
Okay.
found bullet fragmentation under the skin, right?
Yeah. I
Gary's trying to shut him up.
Did they just? That's all I have. One more question. Did they find bullet fragment under the skin?
Yeah, but I don't know what that means exactly.
Oh, okay. Well, I only asked that because I just want to state this one last thing, and that's it.
I've heard
10 more
that. I don't
seconds.
think we've heard that. I'm considering that hearsay until I see that in an official
I'm saying
report.
that I have on camera
Mhm.
secondary fragmentation striking the table and hitting the security guard in the
No,
arm so hard that he
no, you
couldn't use
don't.
his arm to jump the gate. It's all on camera, man.
Hey,
No,
Micah, I'm more than happy to set up a time for you to speak with Gary. If you want to send me an email at producer@dangerousliberty.com, I would be more than happy to set up a time for you. But right now, we're not going to discuss this.
Okay,
um,
that's fine. That's fine. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for. I'll still stick around, and if you guys had any questions, and I appreciate it.
I probably should have, Joni.
were you done with that question? So help me God, if you.
Yeah, no, that's
Oh,
all
go
I
ahead.
got, Gary. That's
Okay.
it for now.
Yeah, Jen, you got to add like body man to your description because that was pretty well skilled, man. I give you credit for that.
Like, I've been sending him
Jen's
messages
awesome.
all night long saying, please give me the authority to just
Well,
mute.
you have the authority.
I
Um,
don't want to disrespect anybody.
no, you're fine.
Do I have like right now? I have another question, or what was the other question?
This is for everybody. By the way, some compelling stats that dude was just throwing at. Some good language, source material. Anyway, ballistic gelatin. Everybody needs to look at ballistic gelatin test. You are looking for varying angles. What you want to see is concussive effects, shock wave.
Yeah.
I guarantee you will be any one of you who are interested, you'll be able to answer a lot of different questions about what a bullet does when it hits a body, soft tissue, dense muscle, clavicle, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the short and sweet of it. I highly encourage all of you, look into ballistic gelatin test.
Yeah, I have that effect on people.
My only
Gary, have you
problem.
ever debated Chris Martenson directly? Like, I know you guys have been on competing podcasts, but have you guys ever had a conversation together at the same time?
I don't know.
Okay, so the person who was just talking to Gary, that was Delta Kilo, and the person talking to him now is Sir Jarbot.
With some of his assumptions, I've talked to him about that. Look, I like Chris, and one of the biggest problems is I reject everything he says for lots of different reasons regarding that. I don't think it matches. It doesn't match a lot of things. Most importantly, the location where the shooter would have to be, and this would be great. I was planning on addressing this today. We never got to it. I had the 3D model ready. Where he puts the shooter is impossible. It's impossible for a couple different reasons. Number one, the Sorensen building is downslope, so it slopes away so that the peak, the end of the roof is the highest point, and there's like this weird ledge there. So if a person's shooting from there, the amount that they have to silhouette themselves to actually get that shot off is ridiculous.
Their
When
exposure, yeah.
Yeah, and not only that, were people all along the top of the second floor level, and man, I'm telling you,
I might have to bring that question back up to Blake if Blake ever actually tries to talk.
not been seen is utterly ridiculous. It is so close. The distances that are so close. It's like somebody at from home plate to second base. That's like the distance that it actually is. We could get on the 3D model and look at it, but even that doesn't really even it doesn't like me and
Yeah, I would know, man. I dipped out of that. I couldn't take it.
there's no way that somebody could be on that roof and no one see them. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's the
So
thing. I just want to really highlight that, like, you actually been on scene, and like, you lose context when you try to like see people's reports and video of people showing stuff. Like until you've been there and seen it in person, like the context behind like that area, the acoustics of it. He relies heavily on the acoustic analysis that isn't quite accurate either. But like, until you've been there and done an acoustic survey, you're not going to know the nature of that area. But like, until you've been there, like, you don't have the context. You get like tunnel vision,
yeah.
and you only see what you want to see until you've actually been there. And I think that's one of the, you going there and being in person has been like a game changer to this. And that 3D model is freaking amazing, dude. I would help pay for your Rhino subscription, by the way, just to keep that
No, I
thing
don't need
going.
that. I appreciate. Look, everybody that sends the super chats and subscribers on the channel and stuff like that. You guys are helping offset some of those costs, and we appreciate you guys. Yeah, and so the other issue that I have too is look, these ballistic tests that everybody's doing in their backyards. Um, I, quite frankly, I find them laughable. If you really understand ballistics and the complexity of that, and trying to recreate something, and you don't even know what bullet that he used, you're not shooting it from the same distance, you're not shooting it from the same angle, you're not shooting at the same material. The densities are completely different, and then like trying to replicate that, especially when you don't even know what the freaking you don't know anything about the ammunition. It's to me is ridiculous. And even if you know the exact ammunition, if we were to recreate that shot 100 times, you might only recreate exactly what happened once, or at least close enough.
It looks like Blake left.
And again, the only way that you can recreate that shot is if you hit the exact same person with the exact same bullet with the exact same muzzle velocity and it impacting the exact same spot. Look, there's a when we talk about the accuracy of ammunition, a really good rifle is 1 MOA. So just for the sake of simple math, it's not quite this, but from 140 yards, what we're going to have is we're going to have a variation impact 1.4 inches at 100 yards. So at 140 yards. So even if I had the most accurate rifle with the exact same ammunition, I mean, if I am not impacting the exact same spot there, again, there's just so many variables that you're dealing with. And right now we're at a point where there's so many variables that we can't even pretend that we can replicate this. And then on top of that, when we talk about the angles, he keeps referencing the angles. And one of the things, if you look at the imagery that he uses, he's using this person, and that person has perfect posture, and he creates this angle that he assumes.
Miss Me Cat, people are retarded trying to recreate that. I agree. I agree. And even if somebody were to somewhat get close, they would find a way to dismiss it anyway. So I don't know what the point is.
Stuff, hearsay as it is. Like, we don't even know where he actually was hit. We heard, again, we heard hearsay. But let's say it was C4. So now, if we look at that angle of that shot based on this perfectly upright analog of a drawing that we have on there. That's not how Charlie sat. We can increase we can be a 7 degree.
What's up, Air
I have to
Jeff?
look at my notes. I think it was like 9.4 degrees is what I calculated. And then we confirmed, by the way, early calculations, I don't know, 3 or 4 days into it, I calculated the angle. I said it was 9.4 degrees. I think I was off by 1/10 of a degree based on our extremely accurate, like plus or minus 1 inch 3D model. But the point is is he's saying that I think he said the angle's too steep or it's not steep enough. But the problem is if I am perfectly upright as that drawing is, that's what he's basing it
Yes.
off of. But Charlie was hunched over. So think about a round going into your neck. The place that it's going to go deeper into your body because I am now hunched over and I'm presenting a larger cross section and a curved cross section of the body itself.
Yeah, it's live, Air Jeff. I'm waiting for somebody to come in and try to challenge Gary. We had a pretty good one last night, and so far there really hasn't been much action. So just waiting for my moment to hop in and stir the shit here a little bit.
From to begin with, and plus he's hunched over more, so his neck is pronated forward. So it's creating a deeper cross section of material to go through. And there again, one of the big
Yeah, Blake dipped. Doesn't surprise me.
large wound pattern. That entry wound is atypical. But I was also going through a older um, forensics. It was gunshots and pathology, or something like this book from the 70s, where this guy literally was taking cadavers, shooting them all over the place. I got it on my computer somewhere. One thing that I did find interesting is he was shooting like people that just died. So just as close to like a real life person as you can get, like not someone that's been sitting in the freezer for a couple of days. So real life cadaver. One of the things that I found interesting in one of the pages, he was talking about neck wounds with bullets, and basically what he was saying was that, and he showed pictures of this. When you're shot in the neck, think about how the skin is actually pretty tight around the neck, and it's not just tight vertically, but essentially again omnidirectionally, right? So it's tight. So
Is
what
it?
he showed was that wounds to the neck tend to open up further, at least at the skin level, like what we saw with Charlie Kirk. So there's that part of it.
Air Jeff. Listen, if Gary hadn't done what he's done today, I might. I don't know how much patience Gary has anymore for the day.
But I still think that we have a very large wound. And then on top of that, the fact that we didn't get an exit wound, if that round was tumbling or was an extreme yaw, number one, just again, for those of you that don't know those terms, think of a perfect spiral football pass. And then, if you're, then throw the same football, if you're good at throwing a football, with your non dominant hand and it wobbles all over the place, right? So that's yaw. It's not perfectly, it's not stabilized, and it's not spinning centrifugally. It's actually the whole thing's wobbling around. So when it hits, and so for instance, if a round is not stabilized, the most extreme version of this, it hits your target completely. It's the shape of a bullet. It's like completely tumbling, and it looks what we call like a keyhole. Now there's understand that that bullet is tumbling and or in extreme yaw. It may not look like a perfect keyhole, but again, it's unstabilized, going to create a larger footprint for the wound itself. And I think that's probably, but that's speculation too on my part, right? I mean, it's educated speculation. It's pulling on experience and understanding what happens with that. But if it wasn't stabilized, the likelihood of that round not exiting it goes up, quite a bit. So that's where I'm at with that. Bullshit. Go ahead, man. Bullshit. Okay, righteous.
Can you
Oh
hear?
no. Yeah,
Have you
now I
got me?
can. Yep, I
Okay.
got you.
Hey, I love the show today, man. Hey,
Hey, thanks, man.
Up the straight.
somebody's got to explain to me once. Well, I got medical training. I was a medic in the army, and I do know
Sure.
some things, but somebody needs to explain to me why Charlie did what they call a decorticate pose. Now, the
Sure.
only reason you would do that is for an injury to the midbrain. See, this is
Sure.
why I'm buying into the deflection off of the body armor.
Okay. I
Because
can
that's
So you can hop into this anonymously. I don't know if he'll let you speak or not, but like when you go in to enter the space, it gives you the option to join anonymously.
So I do think that it was such a large impact. I mean, it was such a massive impact and such a massive energy transfer. I do think that we had a hydrostatic shock wave go all the way to the brain. That's what I think. I can't prove that, and maybe once we have the medical exam, if that gets released. But I do think understanding what for those that don't know, like your body is primarily made up of fluids, right? What we're like 80% water or whatever else, but it doesn't matter. I mean, obviously we have blood vessels, we have a lot of fluid in our body. Fluid doesn't compress. So when a round hits your body, and that's why understand that the it is inverse from pistol to rifle when it comes to fatalities. 70% of people shot with a pistol live. 70% of the people that shot with a rifle die, and it's because of velocity essentially, and it's because of hydrostatic shock. So we have a round that enters a body that's mostly made up of water. Water doesn't compress, so it is it has moved out of the way at a rapid pace, right? So it's displaced at a rapid pace. So now we have a round that's going into the body at 2,200 feet per second, somewhere between 2,200 feet per second and 2,700. We don't know the exact, we can assume that the muzzle velocity was probably around 2,700 feet per second. But by the time it got to Charlie, it's probably moving around 2,200 feet per second. But we have such massive displacement of water when um, a high power rifle round hits your body. That is why it is so devastating, because now it takes that water and now it's moving all of these fluids through your body at approximately the speed at which it's entering your body. So not only is the round damaging tissue by itself, but now it's turning the tissue itself in the moisture and the water in your body. It is actually, that's what we see, this huge expansion. If you guys go watch, Delta brought this up. I thought it was a great point. But if you look,
This is kind of boring, guys. I was hoping Blake was going to get in there and say some stupid shit. That would have been fun.
as it enters, especially a 30 caliber high powered rifle that's moving at a high velocity. I mean, the expansion on that ballistic gel is 4 or 5 times, and it moves everything so fast and expands everything. Now that's not actually even fluids. Um, so there's even difference there, and like ballistic gel is not the best analog for the human tissue, but that's a whole nother discussion. So I do think that essentially what we had was this hydrostatic shock wave that caused massive damage all the way up through the brainstem and into the potentially even the midbrain itself. So that would, everyone that I've talked to and ran that by them, as far as a medical professional, we've had a couple on the show, they think that more than explains the decorticate posturing. Does that make sense?
right. Yeah, well, I've heard that, but still, if you're talking that kind of an energy transfer and the hydrostatic shock, you would think, if that force to go as far as the midbrain, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna open up that brain and expand that brain a little bit too with that shock. You would think you would see some fluid coming out the ears, possibly eyes popping. I mean, I just look at the whole picture from a medical aspect.
Sure.
You would think you would see like a basilar skull fracture. You can get bleeding from the eyes, bleeding from the ears. Now, if this has that kind of a transfer, you would see some of that, and that's what I'm kind of getting away on that theory there.
Well,
But
the other,
anyway,
the other,
that's all I wanted to ask.
no,
I also want to say you're a better man than me to put up with that guy today. So um,
the other
you did a
reality.
good job putting up with him.
Well, thank you. The other reality of this is if you actually watch, especially from the side view of where Charlie was hit, you can see that his spine is deformed and is extended out the back. I mean, it's pretty extreme, right? And the other part of that could be that it's actually ripping the spine from the brain itself. I think there could be, what we would call that basically what an internal decapitation. So, I mean, all of it's going to be speculative until we get some information from the medical exam. But I do think that between a couple of things that are potentially happening there, it explains the decorticate posturing. If and even when I've talked to doctors about decorticate posturing, like, that is a symptom, but not all symptoms are obviously um, uniform across the board, right? Some people might have damage to the midbrain and never get decorticate posturing. Everybody's physiology is slightly different, and we never know if they're going to react the same way one way or the other. They might have more extreme decorticate posturing, depending on what's going on compared to the person left to right of you. So even that is there's variations in these things that we have seen, and there is a spectrum of reaction, just physiological.
No, behaving is not fun.
A medical
Yeah,
exam
you
before.
got to have the autopsy.
Blake Bednarz. He's the one that's been pushing the exploding mic theory like this entire time. That's where that came from. Is Blake Bednarz.
Drive home the point that you were making, that you could literally fire thousands of rounds of ammunition at ballistics gel, at whatever, and unless you have the exact, and I mean, even going further than some of the stuff that you mentioned, the temperature outside, the pressures in the air,
Sure.
all of that stuff
All the environmental stuff.
Already wasted time doing a video on Blake. Yikes. Go watch Artie's video and show some support. Yikes.
Just getting into long range, stretching out to 1,000 yards, that kind of stuff is a completely.
I hope Artie gets like 1 million views on that. That would suck to have to put together enough information and go over enough things of Blake Bednarz to make a video. No thanks.
Under specific circumstances, it's not. There's no way that any of these people online can actually recreate that, and
Nope.
they're saying it like it's like, oh well, we just proved that that would have blown his his head off. No,
Yeah.
you didn't, because and I'm going to use the term that you're tired of today. We don't have data. We don't have the data on was it a hunting round? Was it a light load that a lot of.
Gary had Blake on his show a few months back explaining the whole, or trying to explain the whole exploding mic theory, and Gary like shut him down multiple times. Was like, no, Blake, that's not how that works. No, Blake, it's not really possible. No, Blake, physics don't work like that. And he's still going with it.
Everybody online's a ballistics expert, and no. I mean, I've shot tens of thousands of rounds in my lifetime, and I can tell you one thing's for certain: you can get consistent to a point, but there is a point where every bullet's going to act differently. I have friends that are SWAT police officers, and they will tell you stories that are insane, and you're like, "There's no way that happened." Oh, crazy stuff happens with bullets.
Yep. Nope. Couldn't agree more. Nancy, I think you were up.
I'm sorry. I actually did not have my hand up. I just kept getting kicked out.
Oh, okay.
And when I came back in, I did not have access to the mic. So
Okay.
sorry
I
about that.
saw I saw a request.
Nope. Sorry.
Yep. No worries. Delta Kilo, send it.
Do the same thing I did before. Quick, relevant points, words for everybody. Yaw, tumble, flyers. The difference between range and match grade. Also, for any of you, either as a gentleman who was just speaking, legitimate weapons types, or if you're ex-combat arms, it could be all four branches, but primarily Army and Marines. ORS, Operational Readiness Standard, where you put the blank in the chamber of the M240. And if the M240 chamber was overly worn, it was no longer a service.
Romsby fan, I believe Blake really believes himself. Yes, I think he might be the only genuine one out of the whole bunch that really believes what he's saying, which is, I don't know if that's like a compliment or an extra knock.
Couldn't have said it better. Well stated, sir. Who else we got? Who else do we have?
We're happy to have anyone up. If you request to come up, that's great. Please, all we ask that you do is raise your hand and keep yourself muted until Gary calls on you.
Nancy, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I thank you. And I know everybody in this room is very thankful for you having that conversation with Zach today. I know that was a really difficult one and a long one. And you are a glutton for punishment coming on here and spending hours chatting with us. But we really appreciate it.
Yeah, no.
I could tell you were getting a little bit frustrated at times, but you did great. You did great. You reminded me a little bit of Charlie today.
Well, thank you. The only thing I got frustrated at is, again, understanding how those things go. I wanted to be respectful and when give him time to speak. But what he would do is again, he would start talking over me
I know.
when he disagreed, as opposed to just having a little bit of discipline and keeping his mouth shut until it was his turn to speak. And then, of course, nobody hears what's going on there. Anyways, that was
Yeah.
that. Yeah, no. So I appreciate the nice things you said. Thank you very much, Nancy. Bronson, I know you're a very good debater. What went well? What could we have done better? Let's do a little after action review.
Are you talking about your show with Zach?
Yeah.
Yeah, I dipped out pretty early on in that one. That
Oh,
was tough to
thanks.
watch. That was
Thanks,
it's not
buddy.
your fault. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Zach.
Yeah. It is very frustrating to talk to someone that has just a different perception of logic and evidence, or like it's like a redefined version of logic and evidence. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, it
Um,
was more entertaining talking with Eco last night than it was with what Zach had to say.
yeah, yeah. I had the same emotions talking to Zach. It's like, no, that's you understand that's not evidence. And by the way, one of the things that he said that I definitely picked up on and attacked the point. He mentioned it yesterday or the other day when he was actually debating Andrew Wilson, and he was talking about the Egyptian planes and the military contractors. I attacked elements of that right off the bat. Number one, it's an assumption that there's military contractors. We have no evidence of that. I don't think we actually have any evidence that we even know that people got off the plane. I think that is a complete story that is a story that was presented by Candace Owens, but we don't know that they're military contractors. And again, I want you guys to notice in this the way that these people smuggle in language that's provocative intentionally and using terms. These are military contractors. Well, there's 1,000 military contractors. There's plumbers that are military contractors. There's carpenters that are military contractors. There's wheel mechanics that are military contractors. So, but they use this language so that because they know they can't go anywhere with it. All they're going to be able to say is there's allegedly that there's people get off the plane, a military Egyptian plane, and then I guess they check into a hotel for a couple hours. I don't know if we ever confirmed. Does anybody know? I'm pretty sure I'm 90% sure that it was confirmed that that plane actually took off 2 hours before. That was the whole debacle between UTC time and actual mountain time.
Yeah, that
I'm
was her
pretty sure
mistake.
it was determined that that plane took off 2 hours before Charlie was even assassinated. So to me, that on its face, besides the fact that it's just a data point,
That's
and
about to
doesn't
say
have
it's a
any,
data point. But then it
it
just means
has
that they're still on the ground there. They used the trap door to escape. That's how
gotcha,
they
gotcha.
got out.
They're
So
gonna they're gonna
did you watch the entire debate between him and Andrew Wilson?
Yes, I watched it, the entire one.
Okay. In your opinion, since I cut out early on your show today
Mm.
because my ears were bleeding, in your
Mhm.
opinion, did it seem like Zach learned anything from his Andrew Wilson debate, or did he try to bring the same points to you as he was trying to push against
The
Andrew?
exact same points.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I asked him we got on early before and just trying to build rapport and talk and break the ice and everything else. We were talking about a lot of different things, but that was one of the things I brought up. I'm like, so Zach, do you like when you were debating and he was talking about many of which I will agree with that they're logical fallacies and that you're conflating opinions and data points as evidence, non-correlative. If you have 10, because what they do is they'll take 10 things that are not evidence, that aren't even suggestive, that don't correlate, and then they'll stack those things. They'll make a correlation between these events that isn't there. And then on top of that, they will at least suggest a causation with that. And one of the things I was talking about was like you can have 10, even though you're attacking with volume of zeros. Like just because you say, oh, she lied 50 times. She lied 50 times. Even if you could prove that, which obviously I think most of us would dispute these things that they say that Erica lied about. But even if she did, let's say she's a liar. She's a pathological liar. All right. That doesn't prove that she killed Charlie Kirk. That's a completely separate thing. It doesn't correlate, but yet that's what we're doing with this. So, I asked him, I was like, do you understand why he was frustrated with how illogical your statements are? Or I was like, do you just feel like those were unfair attacks? And he was basically like, no, that was just unfair attacks. And he doesn't, so
Okay. All right.
yeah,
So he has no ability to argue within logic.
that I think
I
is
don't know how you
from
can
my
be
perspective, I think that's exactly correct.
okay. Well, I don't know how you can be a good actor behaving in good faith, get completely massacred the way he did against Andrew Wilson, and then the next day or 2 days later go on somebody else's podcast to have a similar debate using the same talking points that you were just destroyed on. I don't
Yeah.
see how you can be somebody acting in good faith and pretending to care and not realize that you're grifting.
Well, I'll devil's advocate for this. And again, I look, there are many things that he says that I think he is being sincere on that make zero sense to me. And I think it's just a matter of his worldview, but I think he's sincere. And actually, you know, what I would find less sincere and more indicative of being a bad actor is if he stuck with the same talking points, but came with it at a different argument or a different approach because he learned to sidestep the logic that was used against him. And that, I mean, if you believe something, you're going to continue to say it no matter how dumb it is. And I think that's where I'd put Zach. Some of the stuff I do find him being insincere. That's just my opinion on it. But again, I think it is at least he'll come on and expose himself. Like Candace Owens isn't going to come debate me, and she sure as hell ain't going to debate Andrew Wilson, which is she's like, I'll debate anybody. Andrew Wilson's like, hand, I'll do it. Nope, not you. Many people have said they would debate Candace Owens. She won't do it.
That
So
kind of that tells me maybe a few things. One, they're smarter than Zach is, right? Another thing is that Zach might see an opening that nobody else has been doing, and that's going to debate their side of the argument, which they can't because they have no facts or evidence.
no, I think, and again, I think especially with someone like Candace knows she's bullshitting. She does not, I don't think for a second. That's why she has to stay away from it. That's why she has to convince people that she has to tell people that Tyler Robinson wasn't even on campus, even though like any reasonable person would say, like, okay, then why is he 3.5 hours away? Like, what was he doing? She's even at one point said, oh, I think he was involved. Well, why haven't you explored why he's involved? And the reason that she's doing that is because number one, she knows that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. And if she starts touching that third rail and she starts going down that investigative path,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to expose the bullshit that she has around the periphery, trying to say that Erica Kirk and TPUSA and the Jews and the French and the military, people in maroon shirts, like she doesn't continue. It's going to put an end to her path much sooner if she goes in any of that direction. Same thing with like now you have Joe Kent, who she's clearly allied with, feeding her intelligence allegedly. He's talked about, the gay queer gun club, the SLC, Salt Lake City queers. He's brought that up, so that should be some sort of direction from her to, like, hey, this is a credible lead, let's explore that. She doesn't touch that. They got the John Brown gun club that has been potentially, that would be a good place to explore if you think there was people outside of Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs that were involved in this, or encouraged it, or whatever, right? Helped with brainwashing him or radicalizing, whatever you want to say. So, but she won't go down that path because, again, that doesn't leave her open to explore Lori France. I don't remember how to say her name, but I mean, what a despicable way to go down the road.
Yeah,
Going
it's
after Erica's mom, like, it doesn't even make sense.
no, and it's
Um,
amazing to me that they try to use Joe Kent. They try to misrepresent things that Joe Kent is saying and spin it to where it sort of supports their arguments, but they just completely leave out the fact, like just again today, he's doing an interview with Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks, and he
Chunky
comes out
yogurt.
and yeah, and he comes out and says again, basically, I have no reason to doubt that Tyler Robinson is the one who unalived Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
But they don't want to talk about that.
Jen, make sure you cut that. Cut that. He probably
You
fell
got
asleep.
it.
Is it done yet?
I will cut it shortly.
3 minutes. Time starts now.
Jeez,
Bronson,
do better.
you got anything else on? Yeah, you got anything else on that?
Nope.
All right, Jarbot, go ahead, bud.
Yeah, I listened to both interviews, like your interview and then the one he did with the earlier one. But like the
Andrew
thing
Wilson.
about, and I so he I guess the best way of putting it is like he wants to believe the narrative that Candace is pushing. And it's kind of like that X Files thing, right? Like,
I just seen
the
this or
truth
I
is
would
out there,
have.
and they want to believe it, and you could hear it when there's two points I really want to make. The first one is like you could hear it when he was saying that Joe Kent came out and validated some of the things that they're feeling, right? Like, so there's this push that they want to believe this narrative because they have this distrust of the government and whatever, like our side versus their side. But the problem though then is that like he spent with you like almost like an hour and a half, it felt like, on the fact that you were wrong about the body armor and how you responded to being wrong. And then made a slight little offhand comment about it's like not about being right or wrong. But I'm like, dude, you just spent the last hour and a half trying to, you know, defend Candace Owens by proving how Gary handled being wrong about the body armor,
Yeah.
right? And like, so that there's a level there that just kind of, I don't know. There's more to that, but I'll come back to that. But like that was one of the biggest things that I picked up on. Like they want to believe in it. They want to prove you wrong, but then don't want to admit when they're wrong and don't want to admit that it's about being right or wrong. And they want to believe that the narrative, and they think that Joe Kent is out there validating that worldview for them.
No, I do think there's something to this relativism. Like, I think that we have a couple of generations now that have literally been taught, like, we have kids growing up today that are like, if you want to be a girl, you can be.
Yeah, that's real. Everybody's like, poor Gary. Poor Jen.
Completely rid ourselves of logic and reason and just basic philosophical concepts that obviously modern society, I mean, my God, the ancient Greeks were clearly much more logical than some of the people out there. But I do think, like, there is this, it's gone from moral relativism to reality relativism, and it's damaged people's brains. It's like, yeah, but I hear what you're saying, but that's not how I feel. And I won't, my feelings outweigh my brain and reality. And so I think that is a real, because some of these people are genuinely sincere, and they're just rejecting anything that um is opposite of what they believe, no matter how much. And look, liberals, like, we've, as people that have been talking politics for many years, concerned, like, it's the same thing that we deal with.
I rule 2530. What did Gary want Jen to erase? I don't know if he, I don't know. I don't know if he wanted her to erase it or if he wanted her to cut it, like clip it as a soundbite. I'm not sure.
Was it better than capitalism? Capitalism has risen more people out of poverty than any other system in the world. You know, let's talk about free markets. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. Yeah, no, that's just like a, you know, all the stupid things that they say. So,
Gary,
anyways,
how do we, as human beings, as parents, as sisters and brothers, as wives and husbands, how do we get the message out, and how do we teach people to not buy into that?
well, I mean, I don't have a good answer for you other than doing what we're doing right now, and then homeschool your kids for God's sakes. I mean,
Yeah, I was about to say homeschool.
like
Like the,
homeschool. Like I think that's the only thing that's going to save this country to some extent. And then you know, doing these debates. Look, that's why Charlie himself resonated with so many people, right? Like they got up
It really is incredible, guys. Like if you're on X or paying attention to these people, they are manipulating Joe Kent's words to fit their narrative. They're taking shit that Joe Kent said and making it seem like he said something else. But they won't touch on the fact that Joe Kent has said in pretty much every interview that it looks like there's a pretty strong case against Tyler Robinson. They don't even touch on that.
and like no, when we talk about like here's the scientific fact, like you are born with certain XY chromosomes, and down to your DNA, if you were born a male, you die a male, period. You don't get to be something else. um and that's what resident, and I think we're starting to have a revival of that. And again, I don't think there's any one person that can fill Charlie's shoes, but what we can do is we can put 100,000 people in front of cameras or getting out there and getting this message out. And that's the thing. There are people right now that are listening to this that are apprehensive in getting in front of a camera or having these discussions or whatever it is. And the reason you're here is because you're called to do this. And you may not be Charlie Kirk and you may not all be all that effective or articulate right now.
There, Jeff, as much as I don't like Kent, you're right, Bronson. Here, I don't know. I'm not sure where I stand on Kent yet. Like I'm gonna continue to wait and see how this plays out. I don't know what the hell is going on with Joe Kent. Cause I touched on this at the beginning of the video. He's clearly being manipulative, but he's not manipulating people like us. Do you know what I mean? So the only people that he would be manipulating are the tards. But why?
You will get out there just using basic logic and common sense. You will have you will you will provide more information and change more lives than 10 of these freaking blue-haired weirdos that just get up there. They don't care, man. They're like, oh, you know what? Freaking this.
Con, Joe Kent had a history of comments on X and how Iran was a threat, but he even still, he has said in interviews that Iran is a threat, was a threat. He clarifies by saying they weren't an imminent threat. That's what I'm saying. He's not tricking and manipulating people like us. That's not going to work on us, right? So who's he manipulating?
and you see this pretty clearly with Charlie when he goes on campus, like because a lot of and I deal with this in the Marines. I have generational issues. Like these guys coming out of high school, they're told what to think, or they're told what to think, not trained how to think. And
Yeah.
like you kind of dance around a little bit with the critical thinking and logic stuff. Right?
Natalie Herman maybe running for pres or Congress again. It's possible. It could be a political move to run for office. It could be just posturing to get into whatever administration might come next. Like I don't know, but he's you know what I mean? He's not fooling people like us. He's only fooling the tards over there.
I think that you're doing a lot of that lion's share work, when you're doing these podcasts and trying to, and that's, you saw it pretty clearly with Diligent last night. You saw it with, I don't know how old he is. He's older, but
Nikki for freedom. Well, the excuse that she says Kent's media tour has been interesting, not fond of the way he did it. So he started this, like his whole reasoning for it, just what he says is that he wants to basically be as loud as he can with his message that we need to get out of this war with Iran. Right? So he's going to do as many as he can.
like you said, they've never been put in a position where they got to actually think through the problem and actually come up with a solution. What they're kind of taught, and they do this with talking points from the
Kant wants to join the shitstorm of podcasters like Kant. That very well could be, but I also don't know if I believe that he doesn't believe what he says about his feelings towards the Iran war and how it all came about. I don't know. I haven't made my mind up one way or the other yet on that. I'm not trying to defend Joe Kent. I'm just trying to figure out what the fuck is going on because it's incredibly odd.
And when they run out of that, and it's the same thing with the wokes, with the woke right. Like when we start talking about this, like, no, physics doesn't work that way. That doesn't make sense, and here's why. And then what they're left with is, you're paid by Israel. Click, and then they leave. That's what's going on. Is we no longer have critical thinking. We no longer have logic. We have feelings and this weird relativism that the truth is relative, and that's what's going on. Melanie.
Hi, Gary.
Hey.
Hi. I just want to go back to like a couple steps back of like what you were talking about with being bold. I'm looking at my Apple Watch right now.
Thank you for the $10 super chat. I appreciate it. You're now a paid influencer, so tell Gary he'll be a senior junior when he's 65 and then ask if he's had French toast with peanut butter yet, because we're waiting for the review he promised. Thanks for the laughs. All right. Okay. You just
Bold to really be like
you just want to get me in
outward about
trouble.
my conservative values and just not
She
being
is
afraid to
really
just like
loud.
share what I think. It was because of Charlie. He was talking on a podcast about how we're here to be a light on a hill, right? And it may seem fruitless on X right now because it just seems like it's a bunch of people fighting, but I've seen the fruits in real life. And like I can give an example. Uh, I met up with a friend for lunch.
Air Jeff Bronson, what's your feelings on Tucker, Megan, and Candy EI, who are the first three people on this weird tour? Well, first he did Tucker, then he did Megan, and then he did Mark Levin. But it makes sense that he's going to go on the most prominent anti-Israel podcasts right now. You know what I mean? Like that's the message he's trying to get across. I don't know how he thinks that's going to be effective with President Trump. As that's his claim. That's what he's trying to do. I don't know how he thinks that's going to work, but whatever.
Bold and talk, and not just on like I don't have an intention to get on camera or become any kind of influencer, but not just in the social space, but also like with people around us. But I just wanted to say that that message that you guys had the other day was really impactful to me. So that's all I wanted.
I'll do my
No,
best.
that's awesome. And look, man, like I don't know, like you guys may not know it, but still, like especially once I get into a live stream or start shooting a video, I'm fine. Guys, I'm still a freaking nervous wreck. You talk about you reminded me when you were talking about your Apple Watch. I literally had to stop wearing my watch for a long time, and then I finally found the setting, because if my heart rate gets above 100, it has an alarm that goes off.
That's
And I
literally
would
what
be
happened. Just even
yeah. So
putting the request button on here. So
no, and again, start forcing yourself to talk more often,
yeah.
and whether it's in spaces, and you'll just get more and more comfortable, and you get more confident in what you do and say. But again, I still am extremely nervous.
No, you can right from your speakerphone. It's actually like I don't think you have to put your mouth right up to the phone or anything. It comes through fairly decent. That's how I was last night.
It's my weak point for sure. And man, when I'm getting ready to go live, I start thinking about all the things that I'm going to
Yeah.
do, thinking about all the things I'm probably going to screw up. And it's like, you know what? It always reminds me of jumping out of an airplane, right? It's like, I don't know what's going to happen, but here we go. Woo!
Well,
And
there you go. And I actually, I believe it or not, I'm also comfortable public speaking, but it's a new space, right? It's like a new, like I was a youth leader. I was, I used to sing at church, you know, and like I don't have stage fright, but it's sometimes there.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody will rat me out. That's fine. It'll be funny. Or I'll think it's funny anyway. I don't know. Depending on the mood Gary's in. No, I'm sure he'll be fine.
I believe yes, that was her. It was an amazing. That was like that literally spoke to my heart. But we were made for such a time as this, and sometimes you don't even
Yeah.
realize like that you know you have a purpose, and you
Go
know
for it.
like especially if you are a follower of God, like He's gonna use your mouth. Like you don't have to be worried about it. Like just like when Moses, you know, the holy ground, he's like, I can't go to Pharaoh. I can't, you know, speak. But he said, I'm gonna give you the tools. I'm gonna give you the words. So I just
I'm
want you to say that
rarely
I
serious
want to
if
say
you're
that
asking
you
me.
when
You'll
I
tell
found
when
your
I'm
channel,
serious.
I've seen it through you. I think that you are
I
just
get
doing a
pretty
really good
heated
job.
when
And I'm not
I'm
trying to toot
super
your horn. I
serious.
genuinely like feel like just don't stop what you're doing. And like I've appreciated it. I've enjoyed it. And you've also
She is
inspired me.
so
So that's all I
loud.
have to say. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. And yeah, just get out there, take a leap of faith and do it. Look, folks, every single person in this chat right now, there is somebody that is 10 times dumber than you, 10 times less articulate than you, and they are somewhere on TikTok or YouTube and they got 300,000 followers or a million. Probably the dumber you are, the more followers, the stupider you sound, the more people you're going to attract. So the fact is there's people that have less that God has given.
Well, I think Gary just admitted he's dumber than me.
Get into some sort of influencer space, whatever else. Maybe your thing is TikTok. Maybe your thing is YouTube. Maybe your thing is just posting all the time on social media. Like there's
I did
like
not
on
crash
X.
out.
Like there's some people that are really, really good at, I don't know, they're really good at communicating on X. Like that X was made for them. They were made for X. And if you get them on a video, they probably suck and won't have the impact that they can with, 240 characters or less. So just get out there, take the leap of faith, and go for it. You know what, CJ, you're up next.
I only have 25 followers on my X channel.
That's because you're too smart, man. You gotta, if you start huffing paint, get those brain cells down, you'll get those
No,
followers up.
I just never get any sleep because I'm always building models or openings to your show and doing my other jobs here. um, quick thing because I do have to go. I sent you and Jen in X a link. What happened down in Texas with CPAC with my buddy Matt Schlapp, who's the president of CPAC. He came out and said, "Who wants to have an impeachment after the midterms?" And people were actually clapping.
Cool shit. CJ's is in here name dropping.
Because you have people that haven't come over from the left. These are people that are diehard conservatives, and that's just a problem that we have to face coming up to these midterms because it's not just the people that were in the middle or on the left that voted for Trump. This is a bigger problem than even I thought of.
Well,
But
look, there's definitely some pragmatic conservatives, right, that have always hated Trump and always will hate Trump. So maybe they even hate Trump more.
well,
Um,
I'm going to reach
and,
out
and-
to him,
yeah,
next week, and see what he had to say. Hopefully, I can get him on the show.
I would love to interview Matt Schlapp. That'd be great. Thank you.
Well, he's right near me too, and I need to
Oh,
come
is he?
see you
Yeah,
because I
man.
mean I'm only what 30-40 minutes away from you.
Yeah, probably 45 minutes away or something like that. What's his wife's name? Matt Schlapp's.
Mercedes,
Yeah,
Mercedes.
Mercedes Schlapp. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, she's
she
great
goes
too.
by Mercy. Yeah, she was the strategic communications director for Trump in his first.
Yep.
But then she moved on to something else, White House correspondent. So I can't remember. She's great. They're
Yeah,
all. I
she's
mean,
great.
they're good family friends.
Awesome.
But yeah, I mean, it's just sad to see that happening within our party because I mean, just all this commotion going out there in media and again with YouTubers and Twitch people and the Candaces out there. It's muddy in the waters, and that's my biggest problem because I want my son to grow up in a country that has got its shit together, basically.
Yeah, look, man, anytime that the Democrats are in power, they take it full advantage of it. And like Trump sort of does. He definitely throws his weight around more than any other. But every single Democrat, they do 10 years worth of damage, and then we get a Republican in that might just stop the bleed, or they might do 2 years worth of correction, but they outpace us every single time. And like again,
Well, if he would ever stop talking, he could get to the hands raised quicker. Shit.
Republican in 2028. Number one, that Republican is not going to be Trump, no matter who he is, and most likely, I think the woke right is going to continue to push this, this ultra. Um, my brain's not working anymore.
Yeah, it's been 8.5 hours I've been listening to
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
lot.
Anyways, but it's like it's just going to make the problem 10 times worse, and then whoever we get in is not going to be as forceful as Trump, guaranteed. And they're going to be these capitulators, like all the freaking like those Republicans like, oh, we got to bring people together, and they're willing to capitulate in the sake of harmony, for the sake of harmony and getting things done for Democrats. That never goes both ways. Democrats are like, F you, this is what we want. They're fighting for
He just keeps going, guys. It's not my fault.
keeping ours.
Yeah,
Like we
the Republicans get lazy. They do. They get lazy.
they're just weak
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
quite frankly.
Which kind of sucks. What two more quick things here. You
Yeah.
do have something that's really important to me, actually, that
Mm.
is that you agree with Candace, and that's homeschooling.
Yeah.
I mean, my son has been homeschooled since day
You
one.
know what?
It is the best thing
Candace
that's ever
does it. I
happened.
think it's probably a bad idea. I'm getting rid of it. You know what? Put your kids in public school.
No, you better not. I shouldn't have brought it up.
My heart say I literally you were like something you'll agree with Candace. I was like, oh, this
And you would think he would want to talk less, but here we are. Here we are.
I see a big difference. And lastly, did you ever get the peanut butter French toast? Because I mean, Bronson's right here.
No,
CJ
I
stole
bought
it.
materials to make French toast, and I keep meaning to do it. Thanks right before I go to Bronson, because now I'm never going to hear the end of it.
Well, I know that's
Thanks,
why I
CJ.
figured. I mean, I had to.
You threw me right in front of the Bronson bus. It will happen. It will happen
Yeah,
for
well,
sure.
I tell you what.
What I will
When I come and
say,
visit you, I'll give you a text, and I'll come visit you here soon because I got a little time before I get to New York.
what
But
what I will say is this: the psyop is working, right? I've heard it so many times. I'm actually kind of looking forward to it because I'm now starting to believe that it's probably good. All right, here's what we're gonna do, folks. Because I am tired, and my wife is actually upset that it's been Friday night with her. We're gonna do the last four people here, and then we're gonna call it a night. So,
Ooh.
Bullchef, I'm gonna say you were next.
Oh, wow.
you
Caesar,
guys
you were a
have a
little
good one. I got to jump off. Do some things.
Yes.
Bronson, good seeing you too. Jen, good job.
CJ,
Yeah,
you
man.
the
Have a
man.
great
Take it easy.
have a
Yes,
great
sir. Thank
weekend.
you.
All right, guys, take care.
Okay, here's a couple quick points. I'm going to address Jen about how do you stop these people from listening to that stuff. Okay, Jen, right away, don't wait up. These people are never coming back. When you listened to Zach yesterday with Andrew, and he made this comment, nobody picked up on this. I think Andrew did, but he just made fun of it. When he said, but when he goes to prison for the rest of his life, Tyler Robinson, he's locked up. He's not going to be able to get to talk to the media and let them know what he knows about other people. You remember that? So
Yeah,
right
no, I
away,
do.
even with the guilty verdict, it's not going to be over. Believe me when I tell you that. Okay,
Yeah,
the second one with
you're
Candace.
right.
This is actually I'd like to get your opinion on this. This is what I think she's doing. She's the cause of all that. I really honestly believe the evidence that was given her by the Macrons proves that Brigitte's a woman. I got
I
news for you. I think this is a money grab for a settlement because if she goes to a blue
There should be like an emoji notification thing, a little heart. I think if you raise your hand, like he can select somebody to speak, even if they don't enter it as a speaker.
I'm just saying that's what I think. That's what she's up. She's going to try to offer them a settlement, and that's why
I
she
look.
started this line of revenue.
Look, and for everybody that's pissed off that TPUSA isn't suing her, I can tell you for almost certain that that is part of their calculus. Why spend millions of dollars and years going after Candace Owens, all to wait, and then the Macrons get to her first, and there's nothing left. It's just a waste of time, and it's a waste of their donors' dollars, and that's the other part of it too. Is like, the money that TPUS uses, if they're taking millions of dollars to go to a legal fund to go after Candace, that's donor money, and that's money that they can't use to win elections and things like that. Look, I'm at a point. I'm sure there's plenty of wealthy donors out there that would be like, just sue them. I don't care. I'll pay for it. I just don't care. Like, we just got to put them on their heels a little bit. I feel you on that. And, yeah. So, but I do think that is a major consideration for them. I really do. Did you have anything else, Bullshit? I don't know who is up next. Bronson, go ahead. Actually, Bronson, hold on. Let's get a Little House up here. She hasn't been up here at all. So, Little House, you're up.
Hi, I didn't think
Hi,
I was
how are
gonna make it on.
you? We took care of you.
So real fast while I'm thinking about it, because you talked about homeschooling. I
Mhm.
homeschooled all my kids all the way through high school, and I highly recommend, even if your kids are in public school.
Yeah, I told you guys, Gary hates me.
Hate it. My
Oh,
kids are
that's a great
not.
point.
They're not debaters, but it's good to have the experience at least, a couple times trying to debate. Then we used, and these are helpful even for adults. Fallacy detective, the art of argument. They're up. Those are you'll find.
Yeah, she's super loud. I turned it down. Is she still too loud?
Um,
Could you
even
would you be kind enough to find a link and put it down in the
yeah,
in the comments below? I would love that.
yeah. Um, Even if they don't get into debate, something I've noticed my kids went to college, university, they have degrees. Well, some of them do. Some of them are still baristas, but um, they can they can spot um, logical fallacies like that, and that's it's not something that people know how to. Adults don't even know how to do
No,
that these
no.
days. So my kids will listen to something and they'll like that's bullshit. So, that was something. The other thing, I could not listen to, I couldn't get more than 20 minutes in with you and Zach today. I watched him with Andrew Wilson and I just couldn't listen to him repeat the same nonsense.
Hmm.
But something that he kept saying is data, data point, data point, data point, and as if that was data. Um, and I don't
Or
think he
evidence.
understands, or
Yeah,
evidence, yeah.
yeah,
Uh, Data point is we found a thread,
yeah.
you know, at the scene. Data is that thread matched a jacket that he wore that he purchased at the Gap and, blah, 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 blah. The whole set. And I don't think he understand, and I don't think most of Candace's people understand that a data point and data aren't the same. Data point isn't evidence. Um, and the same with foreign nexus. He kept going on and on about a foreign nexus, the potential. Like they don't even know what potential means. Um, as if, saying there's potential foreign nexus means that there's absolutely these foreign ties and nobody's looking at it. And
Well, and if you listen to what Joe Ken actually says, and when he references the text message that were magically given to him and then magically leaked to somebody else, like he references that as the foreign nexus. That's like, oh, that clearly indicates a foreign nexus. Which, first of all, these are for as far as I understand, these are American Jewish donors. There is no nexus from a Jewish donor directly to Israel. Like,
right.
just because they're Jewish doesn't mean that they're working for Israel and pushing the Israel agenda. Like, you can make that third, fourth, fifth level assumption if you want. But then what he does is he starts talking about his role. And I really, when he starts talking about, like, oh, I saw
1111 Kelly Kennedy. Zach cannot tell the difference between the forest and the trees. I struggle thinking. Zach doesn't seem to be like he's that stupid, which also pushes me into the grifter category for him.
that exact same text message, and it's sly and it's slimy, and I think that's the only foreign nexus he's actually seen. So, anyways,
Yeah.
that is
And
another data point.
the the other thing is he said, I listened. I was waiting for the big gotcha. And I don't know that any of these people have actually listened to his full interviews because they don't seem to know what he said. That he said he thought that Tyler Robinson um, pulled the trigger, that the case was, they had evidence, the case was, pretty much a slam dunk. Um, he said his job, his expertise, or his training, whatever, is not criminal investigation. So why is he trying to be a criminal investigator? And when it
Hey, we found Jeff.
He has
there,
no statutory authority to do any investigation.
Jeff, I'll be sure to just mention it to Gary when I get in to say that you're in here and that you wanted to say something.
The reason that they framed the National Counterterrorism Center and actually made it to where that power was very limited was just for that, so that somebody that office can't be abused. So I can't take intel that's coming in that may provide a data point against somebody that I don't like, and then I can go investigate them and do the same thing that the Biden administration and the intel community has done to primarily Trump administration folks, and coming up with these false narratives, coming up with these psychological operations, like the Biden.
No. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. You're good. You're good. We'll make this work.
In actuality, it was actually Hunter Biden's laptop, but like he does not have any investigative authority at all. He shouldn't be investigating. What he should be doing is focusing on counterterrorism and the intel that comes in and managing the people for that job so that people here in the United States stay safe. But instead, what he's worrying about the Tyler Robinson case. He's worried about the Thomas Crooks Butler incident. He's worried about the pipe bomb in D.C. He's worried about foreign policy. He's worried about conducting war, like he should be in Pete Hegseth's spot, the Secretary of War. Like this guy is so worried about everybody else's job that he's clearly not doing his own job. And we had four people, we had four deaths that were due to terror. We had four terrorist attacks under his watch. Like he's that guy that is worried about everybody else, and he thinks he's smarter than everybody else. And I made the point today in the debate, or at least yesterday. It's like Donald Trump. There's literally like 10,000 people or more that are in the decision-making process of whether or not Donald Trump goes to war.
Gary he's not talking like he's tired. I think we're going to be all right. I think he could probably go for another hour or two. Easy.
DOD, we have the entire Pentagon full of staff officers that are coming up with contingency plans, that are looking at different intelligence, that are looking at different risk factors, that all contribute to Donald Trump's decision-making process. The one person that is not in that process is freaking Joe Kent, but he wants to be in that process. And even though he doesn't have all the information that Donald Trump is getting, he's going to say that we shouldn't go to war with Iran. And by the way, what he's going to do is he's going to resign disgracefully and use that as a PR campaign
Did
to
Jeff
then
leave?
go out and subvert
Jeff,
the
did you
president,
leave?
because the president of the United States is actually being controlled by a foreign country. It is one of the most disgusting, despicable things that I've ever seen from a Green Beret. Like, to do that and then immediately post his resignation on X. Like, what are you, a freaking pissed off 14-year-old or 18-year-old that got fired from the Sonic Drive-In, that now you want to make fun of your boss? Like, this is childish stuff. And then you just happen to have an interview with Tucker scheduled the very next day. And then when you're on Tucker, he's like, hey, I spent 24 hours with Joe Kent. So clearly you got there, like you resigned, you threw your thing up there, you had a little hissy fit, put your resignation on X, and then you were on a plane and went over to Tucker's house and you guys high-fived each other and then got ready for an interview the next day. It's despicable. I mean, he should be ashamed of himself.
yeah.
It's not professional at all.
And then my last thing, and this is just my opinion, was he even qualified for the position that he was put in? It feels like that
I'll just say
Trump.
yes. Yeah, I think he was very qualified for the position.
Do you think
actually.
so? Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know a lot about that. It just he's acting a fool. So so I don't
that we
know.
agree on for sure.
All right. Well, that was all I had to say. Thanks for
No,
letting me
thanks.
talk.
No, I'm glad you came into the space. Thank you very much.
All right.
Bronson, go ahead, bud.
Okay, so just two. CJ kind of stole my thunder a little bit before he left, but so just two
Yeah,
things.
here we go.
I
Here,
think
the peanut butter
let's
French
not-
toast bus is coming at me.
no, it's. I just want to go back to kind of the beginning with the Smurf lady and touch on a subject I think is super important.
Oh,
So so when you become 65, you will now be a senior junior. Does that make sense? And
yeah.
then and then still waiting on the French toast peanut butter review.
If yeah. Um, all great points, Bronson. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I'm killing it.
Yes.
So I think
You
okay,
you,
Air
you
Jeff was in here and he wanted to say something, but I don't know if he might have chickened out and left. So if you see him,
let
just
me
point
see.
made. He just wanted to say something, but he may have dipped.
There, Jeff, why'd you leave, bud? Aloha from or to Hawaii. Yeah, too bad. I'm sorry, Jeff, I didn't get to you. I'm looking through here. I don't see you down in there anywhere. Anyways, Nancy, take it away.
Hey, I was just
hmm
gonna say just a couple points. First, thank you for giving us so much time to chat, especially since you've had a really long day. And not only do we need boldness, but I think we all need to kind of work at developing more patience and respect.
You're welcome.
And I saw that restraint in you today when you were talking with Zach, even though he talked over you periodically, which makes it really difficult to stay composed when someone does that. But when people can tell that we're sincere and really care about them and we're not just trying to get our talking points in, I think they're more likely to listen. And secondly, I was just going to say, does it make sense that we could be thinking about a strategy? Because
If you hop back in, you can probably say something.
would look like, but maybe we should all be praying on a plan. Like the left
Yeah.
have groups
So
on Discord.
no. So yeah, and I'm part of a chat group with some people that I know and like, and that are also content creators. And I won't say that like there's been some sort of definitive plan, but at least there is some a group of people that are kind of doing some of the same things that can encourage each other. And I agree, like we do need to come up with some sort of strategy. And I think again, like here's the problem. What we need are people that are going to act, right? We can come up with all the best strategies that you want to, but if you can't execute those strategies and nobody's doing it, then there's that.
Right.
So um I feel like what I'm trying to do is to mobilize people, like get them doing something. This is my strategy. Like get
Have a good night, Lace.
here that are out there fighting the good fight, whatever that looks like, from a political standpoint, from a Christian standpoint, from an anti-Canada standpoint. I don't care. Let's bring everybody in. Let's start working together at something. And then on top of that, the other thing that I want to do is continue to encourage people, to help people to get out there and do something more than just sit in a space or watch a YouTube video and feel like, okay, that was good. I did that. That was great. Like, no, it takes more than that. It takes the
Mhm.
same veracity and the same level of action that the left is at a minimum. Like, if we want to beat them, we can't just meet force with force. We got to overwhelm and consume them.
Mhm.
That's what we got to do. So we got to start mobilizing people. But I also, going back to what you said with Charlie, you are right. And the problem is that we allow people to say things to us.
So once this is over, I'm probably going to pull up a little bit of the Cenk Uygur and Joe Kent interview just to cover a few things, and then we'll probably call it a night. We're not going to watch the whole thing. I think it's like an hour and 20 minutes long or something.
Going up in teams and just being a smartass, like I'm good at that, but that doesn't change minds. And I
Right.
think when people are sitting there and they are being belligerent, like last night, Diligent Denizen, perfect example. Like, do you want to listen to that guy? No, nobody wants to listen to that guy. Well, the opposite is you if you're meeting that force with force. Um, and I know in a space it doesn't really matter, and I don't care if people go off on Diligent Denizen, but I think we need to practice more of
He's talking about
kind
me.
of what Delta was talking about, like a little stoicism, where we just and that's exactly what
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk did, right? He didn't let they could say whatever they wanted. He didn't allow them to get an emotional rise out of him. And then he
Right.
stayed logical, he stayed structured, he stayed disciplined, and then he outmaneuvered them every single time. And that's what people admired about him, whether they realized it or not. Like they made it not like, oh, they may disagree with him, but you got to respect the the
Here, Jeff, with the $10 super chat. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for trying. Thought he was hopping off. Next time, enjoy your content, bro. Most times. That's part of the fun, man. That's part of the fun. Yeah, I'm guessing that Gary's probably going to be doing a lot more of these spaces now. I think he might have got a little addicted from doing it last night, so we'll see.
at doing YouTube videos or whatever overnight. I mean, I probably made 10 YouTube videos when I decided I was going to start making YouTube videos that didn't get published. And then because I was too self-conscious, did I get this right? I was worried about all these little dumb things that I don't worry about anymore. But I finally made myself like, I'm publishing 100 videos. I'm going to shoot a video. I don't care how crappy it is. I don't care what happens. It's getting published. And guess what? If it sucks and everybody makes fun of you, guess what? That's a little bit of character development. And that's what I did. And, again, this is one of the things I'm constantly surprised by when it comes to content creation. I can't even tell you, like
This is an X Spaces. I'm guessing that's what you're asking.
I'm not going to let all that time, probably 8 hours plus into some of these videos. I'm not going to let all that time go to waste. I'm just going to publish it. And like those videos are the ones that kill it. Like I thought that video sucked, and those are the ones that kill it. And then there's videos I've literally spent weeks on, and I use a separate camera and I do all kinds of B-roll and I try to make it cinematic and I make like
Yeah.
weeks on the video and I publish. I'm like, oh man, this is a freaking million views guaranteed. It's like, it gets
Nope.
a quarter of the
Yeah.
views the video that I almost threw away gets. So
Well, we
um
have a fickle audience too.
well, I mean, I
True.
think we're fickle in our own ways because
Yeah.
True. Did
I
you hear
like
that? She
we
called
don't
you
even know
fuckers
what's gonna
fickle.
like some of the stuff that you think is not gonna have an impact. The point here is that everybody down there is like, it can't be me. No, you would have a 10 times bigger impact than you think. And guess what? As you get better and you continue to do it
Fickle.
and you continue to grind it out because you feel a calling to do so, you will only get better. And you will have a bigger impact than you thought from the beginning, and you will have people that will be like, man, this was a really great video, thank you very much. And even you might have 10 other
You are the fickle nader.
will be like, thank you very much, and keep moving forward.
Thanks for that. I appreciate that. I am praying about a podcast.
Fickle. It's kind of a boomer word.
Yeah, no, and again, some of y'all that are thinking about this stuff, you want to come on my podcast and just kind of dip your toes into it a little bit, I will gladly have you. You just got to schedule. You got to schedule with Jen.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds
Let
good.
me
All
let me
right.
just cut in
Send
real
me an
quick. Listen, if
send
I
me
can
an
do
email.
YouTube, you guys can too.
Send me an email to producer@dangerousliberty.com. I will get you scheduled.
Bronson, was that you talking? What were you saying?
Yeah, I was just making the point. If anybody nervous about making content or doing content or whatever, if I can do it, you guys can do it. Trust me, you'll be just fine.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that, and you make really good content. I mean, I watch your stuff, I'm just taking notes, dude. You're very good at talking on your feet. You're a very good debater. Keep doing what you're doing. I think your shows are very well done. You have an extremely good and forceful presence. Um, man, you're keep doing what you're doing because you will grow. There's no doubt about it. All right.
He couldn't just make fun of me a little bit. He's had to say nice things and be all super nice about it. Hotbox Slayer, I bought a Yeti microphone, one step closer to entering the arena. I might need to do a couple sit-ups first. Bro, just jump in. It doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? Not to mention, like, it's fun too, because it's like it's no different than being in a chat. You're just putting your opinions on a video or in a space that's online for other people to watch or see. Doesn't even matter. Like, don't even worry about looking stupid. Who gives a shit? No, literally nobody cares. You know what I mean? Nobody cares. And if you make solid points, bingo.
I thought we had somebody else. Anyways, we'll make sure. Anyways, Sunday, probably I think around 6 p.m. Sunday. Make sure you come join us and have a great weekend. Go spend some time with family, get off the devices, and until next time, stay armed, stay ready. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, now that that's over. Now that that is over. That was fun. That was kind of fun. It was way funner last night. Way funner last night. Hotbox Slayer. I'm prideful being a former soldier. That's my biggest block, being so focused on every detail. Yeah, that's not going to work. That won't work. Don't do that. Don't do that. So the biggest thing is you just want to make sure that your audio is good. That's it. Your video, you can work on video. You know what I mean? I know a ton of people who are gamer streamers. They just use their iPhones as their camera and they stream using their iPhone. The biggest thing is sounding good. And as far as like if you overanalyze, if you know what I mean, if you try to do a recording and record like a reaction to something or whatever it is, if you overanalyze that and you think it sucks, put it out anyway. Because the more you put it out, the more traction you get, the more people you'll get feedback, right? You'll know right away. But the only way you can do it and get better at doing it is by doing it. So I wouldn't even like the biggest mistake you can make is thinking you're going to come out the gate and get a ton of views and everything's going to go perfect, because it's not. Your videos, like right away or whatever you're planning on doing, clips, they're not going to get a lot of views. They're just not. Don't expect them to get a lot of views. Just whatever you do, make sure your next one is better than the last one you did in some way, shape, or form. Whether that's using more fluctuation in your tone, whether that's improving camera, whether that's improving your editing, whatever it is. You just make sure that the next one is better than the last one. It's just a grind, dude. You just grind it out, but it's fun. Like, it's super fun. I don't even know how to explain like how far. Maybe it might not be like fun for everybody, but like I think it's a great time. It's super weird too. Like right away, because you're talking to nobody in front of a camera, recording a video. You know what I mean? So it's a little goofy, but you kind of get used to it. Shank and Anna Kasparian now love Candace and Joe Kent. Yeah, it's super weird. Super, but it's all anti-Israel. It's all anti-Israel. Air Jeff, Chink looks like a rock'em sock'em robot. Yeah. I don't disagree with you. I don't. I remember like when YouTube first hit the scene, I was watching shit like this, the Young Turks and whatnot. And oh, yeah, yuck. But let's see. I'm going to pull up the transcript here. There's a couple of points that I wanted to jump to. I mentioned them earlier, but this Joe Kent shit is just, it's super weird to me.
Yes, guys, for the audience out there, many governments try to infiltrate our government. That happens all the time. But our press says, no, none of them ever worked, ever. And if it's an ally, they would never. If the Canadians infiltrated us and stole our nuclear weapons, our nuclear secrets, I'd be deeply skeptical of the Canadians. But anyways, okay, now let's go to Tyler Robinson. Recently, you went as far as saying that you might even testify at his trial if the defense calls you. So tell us why you're also skeptical about that case, if you're skeptical.
Well, to be clear, I don't have any reason to doubt Tyler Robinson. As I was attempting to look into foreign ties to the Charlie.
Just to be clear, I don't have any reason to doubt Tyler Robinson. Let me know how often you hear the Candidards bring that statement up, or any of the other ones that he's made about how much of a slam dunk case the feds have against, or Utah has against Tyler Robinson. Like, they don't ever talk about that. And be like, oh, he's going to get a Brady rule violation. That was Diligent's big stupid argument, which he got completely wrecked, by the way, in that spaces last night. What are you going to do when there's a Brady rule violation and there's a mistrial because of it? It's like, there's not going to be a Brady rule violation. There's no way that there could be one. It's because he has no exculpatory evidence to show that, you know what I mean? Exculpatory evidence. You would need to have some type of exculpatory evidence, and there is none. Joe Kent is not even saying there is any. In fact, he's saying the exact opposite. He's saying, I think Tyler Robinson did it. I have no reason to believe that he didn't do it. Nikki for Freedom. I feel like he has said many variations on each. He's saying the same thing in different ways, but he's still saying the same thing. He's not changing what he's saying. He's just kind of changing how, which makes sense. You know what I mean? These are in person, or not in person, but they're like, I would say the same thing, and I would probably say it a different way depending on who I was talking to, just because it's a different day and it's a different interview and it's a different setting, whatever. But it's the same shit when you get down to it. Down in it. Heard his Tipo didn't have any authority to investigate for real. From my understanding is the NCTC does not have any investigatory power. It's not their job to investigate. I think Gary explained it really well in that socials last night. And I'm not even going to try to like reiterate it because it was a lot. I feel like he could have narrowed it down a little better, but like he went into a full on explanation of what their job is, of what Joe Kent's job would have been to do, and how they basically don't have any type of investigatory power in any way, shape, or form. Northern Ice Angel, why is Joe Kent talking about the reason he resigned? Every show is about Charlie, and that's not the reason he gave for resigning. So he did. Like, this is shoot, I don't even know. This is almost an hour into the interview, right? So every show that he's doing, mostly what he's talking about is what's currently going on with the Iran war, according to him, and wanting to pull out of the Iran war and giving reasons as to, or not even reasons, but like ways that he thinks we could go about doing yada, yada, yada. It doesn't matter. But he does talk specifically about that in the interviews. They just keep bringing up the Charlie Kirk thing because they know that's a hot button topic as well. And I think, and Joe knows that too. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't surprise me at all if you guys remember that article that came out where that there was an unnamed source leaked to the press that Joe Kent was blocked, that Kash Patel blocked him. Do you guys remember that article? It wouldn't surprise me at all if it wasn't Joe Kent who leaked that to the media. I'm just really curious as to, like, it's just really strange that he has or has had over the last however many years the opinion he has towards Iran, to now, in the current political climate that we're in, all of a sudden be super against this regime change thing, which I don't think he's ever stated that he's against the regime change war in Iran up until, I don't even know, what, the last few months maybe? It's just weird. The timing is weird. The way he says things is a little strange. But he's like, you could argue that he's lying or that he's trying to manipulate or whatever. I think that's accurate, but who is he trying to manipulate? Because it's not us. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's falling. Nobody on this side of the aisle is like, oh man, crazy. Like, no, Joe Kent's pretty much just been saying what a lot of us have been this entire time, is that pretty sure Tyler Robinson did it, but we do have questions as to whether or not there were other people involved. Some people go as far as to say that there are potential links or ties, which I haven't seen evidence of, to the whatever that trans group was, SLC, whatever, in Utah. Other people obviously have gone with the whole, well, it's Israel, obviously, but I think most people believe that it's very possible that there were other people involved. And that's all Joe Kent has really said. You know what I mean? They're trying to say, well, Joe Kent has said that he has evidence that there's a foreign nexus, and Joe Kent hasn't said that. He's been very, very okay. Hasn't been clear on it, but the words he has chosen to use when he talks about it is he says there are leads that could potentially lead to a foreign nexus. There's no evidence of it. He's not saying there is one. He's just saying there are certain leads that he believes were never looked into and that they should be. And then you get the guys on the Canatard side and they grab that and they twist it and spin it for their clicks and their rage bait or whatever the case is to make it look like Joe Kent is saying something that he actually isn't saying. Save smiles. We aren't forcing, joking, my bad. We aren't forcing regime change. The Iranians want a regime change. Yeah, it's depending on who you ask and who you listen to, you know? Like, I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know exactly what the hell is going on over there because there's so much propaganda being pushed out. Like, who knows? You know what I mean? If you're just going to decide to believe 100% of whatever Trump's administration is telling you, I mean, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to say, no, they're full of shit or Iran's full of shit or Israel's full of shit. I would assume they're all probably kind of lying. You know what I mean? That would just make sense. They're not going to tell the public everything on any of these sides. However, that doesn't change. You know what I mean? Like, you can't prove any of this shit that Joe Kent is saying. He can't prove it. So it's Joe Kent's word against whoever else in the administration that you want to believe. Do you know what I mean? But specifically, that's why I don't even like necessarily talking about the Iran conflict because who knows? And I have no idea what the future holds. I don't know if this thing's going to be over in the next 2 weeks or if they're going to end up going a full scale invasion, boots on the ground. Like, I have no clue. You know what I mean? Depending who you listen to, oh, it looks like they're gearing up for a full scale boots on the ground invasion. And then other people are like, no, it really doesn't. Like, so I just focus on what he's trying to say about Charlie Kirk since he decided that he wanted to go ahead and speak about it. And all he is saying is basically what a lot of us have been saying. Urban Angst. It'll be interesting to see who takes over for Joe Kent as director. Has that? Yeah. What are they doing? Don't they need to like fill that role like pretty quickly? I don't, maybe that's not that important of a job. I don't know, but I feel like they would have had like his successor like lined up ready to go. And that they very well that somebody could be doing that already and they just haven't announced it or I haven't seen it, but yeah, I feel like you would put somebody in that position pretty quickly, no? I rule 2530. It seems Kent was pretty useless. I mean, I'm not going to say that. I don't know. I have no idea what goes on in the intelligence community and what's I don't know why that got me, but it got me. So, good job, I roll. Good job. I got I mean, yeah, we haven't had like a whole ton of terrorist attacks on the United States soil. So, I mean, maybe he was doing good. I don't know. I have no idea. I wonder how many of these jobs are like actually needed in the government, to be honest with you. Air Jeff Bronson sent you an email. Is it urgent? Is it an urgent email? I will pull it up. From Air Jefe. Well, I'll go ahead and download this image and we'll pull it up and take a look. Image. I'll just open it with Adobe. Open it with the Photoshops. All right, let me try to zoom in here. Oop. Let's see. So this is from Ben Williamson, the Assistant Director of Public Affairs at the FBI. A number of people have asked for a response, so here it is. Joe Kent is being a dishonest hack. He worked for the NCTC, which is not a law enforcement or investigative agency. He had zero role or 1811 investigative authority in this. This is like me saying I was blocked from playing receiver for the Commanders. It's an issue of having no business or, frankly, ability doing something, not an issue of access. Furthermore, FBI actually made an early exception and allowed NCTC to assess intelligence reports, and international terrorism returned zero connections. None. Joe Kent kept making things up anyway. There was, that came out in the, I think it was the Daily Mail. I don't know if that came out today or yesterday, but there was a quote in there. Oh man. You know what? I'm just gonna, no, you know what? There was a quote in there, and it was something all along the lines of like, at first, Joe Kent was trying to tie what happened to Charlie Kirk to Iran. So these people that are like, oh, Joe Kent thinks Israel did it, when he says foreign nexus, I wonder if he's not trying to point to Iran, which is really weird, no? Like if that, I don't know, I'm not saying that report is accurate. It just came out in the Daily Mail. It's an unnamed source, right? But it was that he was like trying to point, saying there was evidence that Iran was involved in what Charlie Kirk did. And if you think about it, when he brings up the Thomas Crooks thing, he puts it into this like data point set, right? Where it was Thomas Crooks and it was the Iranian who was arrested 2 days prior for trying to assassinate Trump. And then all of a sudden we have what happens with Charlie Kirk and then those text messages. Like he put in a data point from Iran. So is he trying to imply that maybe Israel and Iran wouldn't be working together to try to get a war started in Iran? That doesn't make any sense, does it? But I thought that was really interesting. That somebody would come out and be claiming that Joe Kent was inside behind the scenes trying to point to Iran as being, oh yeah, Dad, we're going to run on this. Listen, guys, this is the best thing they've ever given us, is this data points thing. This is the best thing they've ever given us. The data points. Okay. Whew. Data points. I love it. I think it's hilarious. Diligent tried to pull that shit last night too. The data points. What data points, bro? What data points? He said all the data points on Tucker. He didn't say shit on Tucker. The data points are, well, we have this Iranian who was arrested for being suspected of and trying to carry out an assassination on Trump. And 2 days later, Thomas Crooks tries to take a shot at him. And then we have what happens to Charlie. And then we have the text message thread from Charlie saying he's going to leave the pro-Israel cause. And then and now we have the Iran war. Like that was Joe Kent's data points. And he's like, we need to look into these data points. They're interesting data points. I mean, yeah, like what? So Iran and the Jews were working together? And if he did want to point to Iran being involved with Charlie Kirk, that doesn't make any sense to me, because I feel like if we're looking for a reason to go to war with Iran, like he's been saying, I feel like that would be a pretty good reason, right? That'd be pretty good reason. Like, hey guys, listen, FBI, from everything we're seeing here, it looks like Iran was involved in what happened to Charlie Kirk. Like, I feel like we would have went to war the next day. So if he's like against the Iran war or just regime change, I don't understand. That's what I'm saying. This whole Joe Kent thing is incredibly weird. And I don't know if I want to say it's an op, but it kind of, it's strange enough to where I'm like, is this an op? What the hell is going on? What is going on? I know Nick Fuentes has his own theory, but I don't know. So anyway, what is this? So he's saying the shameless media tour he's on reeks of being desperate for attention, and the baseless conspiracy theories he's spreading about the admin, particularly Charlie's murder, could very well make it more difficult to get justice for our friend. If he had any shame, Joe Kent should be ashamed of himself. I don't think what Joe Kent is saying is going to make it difficult at all for them to get. I don't think anything Joe Kent is doing is going to have any impact on the trial in any way, shape, or form. The only way that it could is if somebody from the Canditard clan ends up getting in the jury. And either way, they were going to be a problem far before Joe Kent ever came on the scene. Because he's not offering any new evidence. He's not offering any exculpatory evidence. Nothing. Even his testimony, like, I went over this the last live I did, but his testimony would be like stupid. I don't know how they would put a Joe Kent on the stand. What's your testimony? Well, I don't believe that there were leads that were investigated. Okay, do you have proof that these leads were not investigated? No, I don't have proof. Okay, and then cross-examination, they're just going to be like, hey, you mentioned a few times that you seem like Tyler Robinson was probably the one who did it. Do you still believe that? And he's going to say, yeah, right? Like, oh, you've changed your mind? Here's 30 interviews you did after you resigned from your position at the NCTC, stating multiple times that you have no reason to believe Tyler Robinson didn't do it. You quoted it as being a slam dunk case. Like that would be, as a defense, I don't see how they would put him on the stand knowing he's going to end up having to testify to that. That's not a good look for your client. Jackie Blue, I'm way behind, but listening, Bronson, always a great listen. That's all right. We just started covering the Joe Kent stuff here, maybe, I don't know, half hour ago or so, if that. Before that, there was a live spaces that Gary was hosting on X, and we were having a little fun in there. So you didn't miss a whole bunch. Just me ranting about how confusing Joe Kent is and how stupid people are for either intentionally or just struggling with comprehension, and how they're misrepresenting the words that he's saying to say something that is not even close. Let me see if I can pull this up since we're all just sitting here. Let's do. Oop. Give me 1 second, guys. I think. Oops. No, I need messages. It was Shady Katie Lady actually sent it to me. She was like, "Have you seen this?" I was like, "I have not." And yeah, sure as shit. Some weird reporting about Joe Kent saying it was Iran that did it. Well, come on, load. What the hell? All right, so this came out in the New York Post, guys, so take that for what it's worth. Let me zoom in. I don't know what your guys' view on mainstream media or any of these types are, but I take everything that I see with a grain of salt. When did this article come out? Oh, this was published on the 19th. Right here. Let me see. I'll try to zoom in a little bit more. A law enforcement source familiar with the matter scoffed at Kent's versions of events, telling the Post that he had no authority to probe Kirk's death and wasn't blocked from investigating shit He was blocked from accessing files he had no role or statutory authority to access. That source also said that during the early stages of the Kirk assassination investigation, Kent would walk into meetings without any information or evidence and speculate that Iran had killed Charlie. Then, when asked for evidence, he had none. All of these people doing these media interviews with Joe Kent since this came out on the 19th, which was almost 10 days ago, I would really like them to ask if this is, I mean, I would assume he'd probably just deny it, but they could at least ask the question so we could see how he physically reacts to the question. Because that's an interesting, I mean, if that's true, that's kind of an interesting little tidbit there. Mr. Ooh, Israel bad. Oh, by the way, I think Iran might have had something to do with what happened to Charlie. Oh, I don't support the war in Iran. Like, doesn't make any sense. Makes zero sense from a logical standpoint. Safe Smiles. Charlie said that he trusted Trump after the 12-day war and made a video talking about how Iran used to be a free and prosperous country before. Yeah, again, with the Charlie stuff, like it's just, Charlie is not here to give his opinion. You know what I mean? I tend to maybe lean towards TPUSA a little bit, the people that were close to him. You know what I mean? What they say he would think or what they say he would be doing right now, but it's tough to say. 1111 Kelly Kennedy. Kent sounds like a broken record. Bronson's questions for Kent were perfect. Yeah, nobody's asking him. I mean, I haven't watched that entire Cenk interview, but I can't imagine he was asking. I'm sure everything he was doing was pointing towards hate Israel. Gritsnitch. At saves. I don't trust Kent. If anything, I bet he's using it as a talking point to help Tucker and Candace. Help Tucker and Candace with what, though? I feel like Tucker and Candace don't need any help. I don't know. I'm at the point where I feel like nobody, like, it just seems like at this point, you've kind of picked a side by now. And I don't know that anything without like crazy evidence is going to sway anybody one way or the other. And even then, I have a tendency to think that people on like our side of the aisle would be potentially more swayed with real evidence than they would. I think you could have the absolute full on evidence of everything right in their face, and a lot of them are still going to figure out a way to twist it and make it so it's not. No, that can't be right. Were we talking about Tiger Woods getting another DU? Oh yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Tiger, man, what are you doing? What are you doing? How does he not, like, maybe he just likes to drive, but how does he just not have a full-time driver? What are we talking about? Hundreds of millions of dollars you don't have somebody driving you around, dude, especially when you're having fun. Tiger killing the game. Down in at 2866. He was my hero. Listen, all right? Listen. When a man ends up with that much money, that much fame, that much influence, he's gonna make mistakes. We are only human. There is no way he was gonna navigate through that entire thing and not screw up a little bit. So, cut Tiger a little slack. I would assume he may have a bit of a substance abuse problem as well. So, easy on Tiger. He didn't kill anybody, did he? I don't think so. I think that would have been in the headline. I rule. Is he still dating Don Jr.'s ex? Who? I have no idea. 1111 Kelly Kennedy. George Farmer got a DUI and injured someone, I heard. Yeah, I heard that too. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but I made a funny post on X about it. It's just, I mean, I understand why George Farmer would probably be under the influence 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Being married to Candace makes sense. She's probably incredibly abusive. Air Jeff, I think pain pills. He almost lost his leg. Con, it'll be interesting to watch the Tiger DUI, the body cam on Jay Witt. Absolutely. Absolutely. That'll be fun. I look forward to Jay Witt's commentary on that one. But yeah, I'm not going to pull it. Man, listen. And what was it? I'm trying to remember back. He had an affair on his wife, right? And that was a whole ordeal. And I think it was only one. It was only one woman. Like that's, I know that's bad, right? It's not good. But you're Tiger Woods. You know what I mean? Do you have any idea how many women were probably throwing themselves at him constantly, and he only caught one? That's pretty. It's pretty good. It's pretty solid to just all of them, and he just got one. Oh, it was many? I thought it was just one. Well, I take everything. How many though? Was it like 3? Either way, if it wasn't like 100, dude had some pretty solid self-control. Guys, I'm being halfway serious here. 1111 Kelly Kennedy, don't kill me. I suspect meth or crack. I mean, there might as well be. Why not? Urban Ace, was it under par? Fucking New York Post, being trying to be talking about Tiger Woods right now. Oh, Tiger. I mean, it's good to see he's at least still alive and kicking, doing his thing. Hey, party is a party. Very true. Very true. Let's play a little bit more of this quick and see if there's anything else that comes up. Air Jeff, usually people don't bloat with meth. You'd be surprised. I knew some back in the day. All right, back in the day, I knew some of them, and they had a bigger appetite than most fat dudes I've known that didn't. I'm just saying, you'd be surprised. But yeah, no, that looks like definitely alcohol, so like excessive alcohol substance abuse for sure. Which sucks, man. Like alcoholism's no joke. Doesn't matter how much money you have, how famous you are, how good of a person you are. That shit gets you. It's not good. $11.11 Kelly Kennedy. It made my hands swell and ache. Meth did. Yeah, it's not good for you. It's not good. It's not a healthy dietary supplement. No matter how effective people tell you it is. The great equalizer. All right, let's see if Joe Kent has anything else to say or more to say on this with Cenk.
Charlie Kirk assassination, the FBI would come and say, hey, if you look into these foreign ties, or if you really look into anything pertaining to the case, you could be called to testify. And so I always said, okay, like I want to complete the investigation. And if that means that I could be called to testify, then that's fine. I want to make sure the investigation is done properly.
Hold on here. Tiger, so he did a breathalyzer and he blew a 0? Oh, okay. Oh, then it's definitely meds. That eek. Eek. Meds are no joke. Has he had any like I don't know. I don't know how much you guys are following Tiger Woods' career. Has he had any like surgeries or anything in the past few years? Because I know those prescriptions, like if you go in for a surgery and you get some type of prescription for pain reliever, those things can be pretty strong and they can grab you pretty quick, pretty easily. So I wonder if maybe he had any type of surgeries or any type of medical issues at all. Back damage. That would that would explain it to me. That would explain it to me. Oh, yeah, okay. I think I remember seeing somebody bring that up earlier in the chat. Yeah, okay. So Big Pharma got him. Man, Big Pharma, they are almost undefeated. They are almost undefeated in slanging out their highly addictive substances. He had lumbar disc replacement surgery in October 2025. There it is. That's what I would put my money on. Big Pharma got him. Well, hopefully nobody was hurt in that wreck, and that he can get some help because those pharmaceuticals are tough. Those are tough to kick. Safe Smiles. I don't see anything wrong with taking pain meds as long as you can't. Here's the problem: is you don't know. You know what I mean? You don't know. You have no idea if it's going to grab you or not. And with who Tiger Woods is, his access, it's not going to be hard for him to get more and more. So there's a lot of people that I know, they have surgeries or whatever, and they get prescribed the pain medications, and they'll be like, these things are just way too strong. I'm just not even going to take them. So it just doesn't grab some people. Some other people, it grabs them, and it's not a choice. Like they don't make the choice to be like, oh man, I'm going to use these all the time now. It's just something happens in the brain where a switch is flipped, and it's really hard to flip that switch back. Gina Fay, I have a spinal cord injury with fusion plus cage, but only use Motrin because the good stuff stops working. Well, your body is apparently, or your brain anyway, is not wired to really like the good stuff then, because I don't have experience. Maybe for pain, I guess, but my experience is the good stuff works all the time. I rule 2530. I've been prescribed after surgery and didn't take it. I was scared to. Makes sense. Man, I've heard that from a lot of people too. And I don't blame you, because I feel like the pharmaceutical companies don't have a problem with you getting hooked on their products. That's a whole nother that's an entirely different conversation for an entirely different live stream. I've got big problems with big pharma.
So there were some headlines that my words were taken out of context. And a lot of times the FBI, in order to get you to back off of something, they would say, hey, you guys don't want to be subpoenaed by the defense. And to me, that never really, I understood what they were trying to do, but it was never meaningful to me, because I said, hey, I want to do a complete investigation. If somebody wants to subpoena me later to check in on my work or to see what I found, that's fine. I think that's just, we
Do we have another Candace where just any freeze frame they look terrible in? This one doesn't look too bad. Listen, one thing, Joe Kensky, that dude's got a great head of hair, man. He's got there's locks. Dude's got locks. He's got that going for him.
should be open to that. My issue with the the Charlie Kirk investigation is that, look, there's Tyler Robinson. His fingerprints are on the gun. It appears that there's a solid case against him. However, there was people posting online before Charlie was even killed that Charlie was going to be killed that day at that location. So there's obviously people who had prior knowledge. There's the guy who jumped up in the crowd and immediately said, like, I'm the one who took the shot, and then later on he said he was doing that to create a diversion. So I've always said, hey, we have a lot of investigatory work to do here. Charlie Kirk was a national figure. He was an international figure. There's a lot of links that we need to look at. And then very similar to what had taken place in Butler, was told to stop. Don't investigate further. Now, the FBI has come back out and said, hey, you didn't have the authority to do that. That's why you weren't included in the investigation. NCTC does look at foreign ties to domestic acts of terrorism to include assassinations. So we did have
Whoa. He didn't say NCTC has investigative authority. He says we do look into things. I don't know if that's the same thing. I feel like if those were the same things, Joe Kent would have specified, like, I feel like he would have said, no, we absolutely have investigative authority. That's interesting. It's an interesting little tidbit there. Mama Owlbear? Mama Owl's in the chat. What's going on, Mama Owl? Grit Snitch. I'm on opiates right now. Had shoulder replacement surgery. It's only 2 a day. Well, I hope it's doing everything you need them to do, and I hope that it doesn't grab you too hard. Let's see if he reiterates it here. I might go back just a few seconds.
And we can have the turf fight all acts included in the investigation. Has come back what had taken place in Butler. Was told to stop. Don't investigate further. Now, the FBI has come back out and said, hey, you didn't have the authority to do that. That's why you weren't included in the investigation. NCTC does look at foreign ties to domestic acts of terrorism to include assassinations. So we did have purview, and we can have the turf fight all day long. Is that the FBI's, is that NCTC's? But at the end of the day, there's potential foreign ties that I really can't get into that I don't believe, from my opinion, from my vantage point, that we're not completely ran down in terms of an investigation. Now, does that mean there's something there? Does that mean that there's evidence of a foreign government or foreign person? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that the investigation from where I was.
I'm saying that the investigation from where I was, from my point of view, was not done or was not looked into. He's not even saying that he knows for sure it wasn't done at all. Not saying that there's any foreign, like that there's evidence of foreign ties. Not saying any of that. Saying there's leads that, from my point of view, were not fully investigated.
Was NCTC was incomplete.
Okay, so to me, the National Counterterrorism Director looking into foreign ties of a shooting of a well-known figure in America is the most logical thing I've ever heard. Okay, fine. Let's say that there's a turf war. Do we know if anyone investigated the people who posted online about knowing about Charlie Kirk's assassination before it happened?
Well, and AM says they're a clearinghouse for info, not an investigator. They may be able to look at info. They may be able, you know what I mean? I'm sure they're able to look at intelligence, look at info, but that does not mean that they are part of the investigation or have any type of investigative authority. And Joe Kent doesn't even make the claim that they do right there. So that's interesting. I feel like he would have said, no, we absolutely can investigate. Not what he said.
That I don't know. And I think because the online posting, there would be subpoenas of like the internet platforms. And on most of those, I think, are based in the States. So that would be the FBI.
Right. AM, yes, they look at it and pass it on to see who. Okay, so theoretically, Joe Kent sees some information, some potential leads that say like Iranian ties, right? Iranian ties, we'll say it's the SLC girl, whatever. So there's a potential foreign tie there, right? And let's say it's the Charlie Kirk text message thread that says he's going to leave he's not going to support the Jews anymore. Okay. Let's say that. Okay. Well, now we have maybe a potential foreign tie that we need to investigate more. So he sees these leads, and then from where he's sitting, from what he's seeing, they're not being investigated. but he doesn't know because he's not part of the investigation. He has access to maybe some of the investigative files, some of the intelligence, or even all of it up to a certain point, right up until Cash said, no, not anymore. But after that point, which I don't even, was that October, November? So after that point, he has no idea what's been investigated because he was blocked from viewing the information, it sounds like. So Kent has nothing. He doesn't even have anything. And he's kind of saying he doesn't have anything. But then he uses this whole, well, there's certain, what are the leads? Well, I can't get into the leads because that would be classified or something along those lines. Okay. I mean, if you're gonna, if it's a big deal, and it's another point. I don't even think he believes it strong enough that they would lead to anything because he's not willing to risk for Charlie Kirk, which is such a big deal to him. He's not even willing to take the consequences to get that information out. Another pretty like if I'm in there and I see some crazy shit that in my gut proves to me that there are definitely some foreign ties here and that there's a cover up. Like I'm risking it all, and this is a decorated war hero we're talking about. So I don't think he doesn't have the balls to do it. I just don't think he has anything to risk that. I don't think he believes it enough to risk that.
If they had any international ties, though, we would lead we would support the investigation and in some cases lead the investigation on that. And again, I don't believe that was done. And there's other, just because of Charlie's profile, because of the crowd that day, there was other potential foreign ties that I'm aware of that, to my knowledge, were not looked into. Now, again, the FBI and the DOJ are going to come back out and say he doesn't know what he's talking about. We looked at everything. I, from my vantage point, again, I don't believe that to be the case.
So
that's it. There's no way that's going to affect the Tyler Robinson trial in any way, shape, or form. I don't believe it was looked at. I don't believe they did their job. Like, no, we did. We did. See, here's all the evidence we have, and it all points to Tyler Robinson. Like, makes no sense. No sense at all.
Again, awfully strange. So help me understand this. The FBI says, hey,
1111 Kelly Kennedy, how exactly does Kent want this to end? I'm not, are you referencing like the trial, the Kirk situation, or just what he's doing in general? Because I don't know. I think he wants it to end in a favorable position for him in some future president's administration. I think that's what he wants. I mean, he said that he would like to be involved in national security. That's where he sees himself. That's what he wants to be doing as a living. So he's kind of said what he wants. He said it on the Sean Ryan show. I believe he said it on the Tucker Carlson podcast. Megyn Kelly, I'm pretty sure he said it on Megyn Kelly. So he's sort of said like what it is he wants to be doing. His agenda, yeah, that's, as far as I can tell, his stated agenda is that, right? That he wants to draw attention to the Iran war so we can fix the United States relationship with Israel, in the sense that we need to be in control of Israel and not what is seemingly the other way around. So we need to figure out a way to cut them off and be more stern with Israel, right? Basically to keep them from making offensive war maneuvers that drag us in. He wants them to just somehow just be strictly defensive. But then he also would like a position in national security. It's just what he said. Don't know if that's his actual agenda. I don't know if this just could be the agenda as an op, but I'm not sure what the op is for. Like I said, I had just a funny, little theory that I concocted for shits and giggles. And that's that he's been deployed to try to get all of these crazy candidated lunatics and try to reel them back in, at least so they're voting right wing instead of going all the way off the cliff and voting left wing, but I don't know. It's tough to say. Tim Pool, I think, even had like a theory. He's saying like he has insiders in Washington, and the people in DC are telling him that like what's happening is basically a psyop, and they're trying to replace. They're trying to go back to how it used to be in the left right paradigm, to where the left wing was sort of like mildly anti-war, and then the right was like full on neocon. Like they want to get back to those days, to where it was like your Bill Clintons and your George Bushes kind of thing. So he thinks like Joe Kent and Tulsi Gabbard are posturing to run for the Democrat Party as moderates. And then whoever on the right, I don't know who that would be. That's a super neocon warmongerer, but that was an interesting theory. I don't know. Again, I have no idea how accurate that is or not. And like, I got people in Washington, D.C. telling me these things like, oh, yeah, okay. Maybe you do. Are you guys still talking about pharmaceuticals? What are you guys doing? Pineapple. What is going on? What is going on in the chat right now? What is found in pineapple? (1111) Kelly Kennedy. Has he talked about his book? I don't know. I don't recall if he's talked about his book at all. If he has, it was something that I was not even paying attention to because I'm hyper focused on him, and I mean somewhat of his Iran position, but mostly just the Charlie Kirk stuff and the way he's saying it. I really like, I'm watching all of these interviews because I want to see if anything really changes up the more he does these. And it really doesn't seem to be changing up at all. He's pretty much saying the same things, just sort of in a different way. Bromelain Bronson, eat some pineapple. Yeah, I know it's a good meat tenderizer. Okay, mods, can we ban Save Smiles, please? I'm just kidding. Just kidding, mods. Pineapple on pizza. Listen, I'll eat it, but it's never something I will order. Does that make sense? Like if I'm hanging out with somebody or where I'm going somewhere and that's all the pizza they have, like I'm gonna eat some Hawaiian pizza or some pineapple whatever pizza. I'm gonna eat it. I'm not gonna be like, ew, no, but it's never gonna be my first, second, third, fourth, or fifth choice. Ken's hair distracts me. Yeah, it's like it's just crazy locks for a dude like that. It's wild. I get it.
Don't look into other leads, because if you do, it might jeopardize the Tyler Robinson case. You might get called by the defense.
Okay, I'm going to need you to block yourself. That's crazy talk. No, we're not putting pineapple and peanut butter together.
You might have.
You know, I might take that back. I was just thinking back. I had some Aloha peanut butter from Hawaii that was pineapple infused, and it was pretty good, actually. Shit. But it wasn't so good that like I did it a bunch more times, or that I decided I needed more of that peanut butter. It was good. I also had some pineapple coffee from Hawaii that was pretty good. But again, not so good that I'm like, ooh, I need to keep this in the rotation.
To testify, there might be a subpoena. Is that standard policy that once we think we have someone that might have done it, that we just stop investigating everything else?
I'm not sure if that's always been the case, but that was what I was told. And that's why my
Hold on. No. Did they stop investigating? The FBI turned the case over to UVU authorities. Did they say that they stopped investigating? I don't know that that claim has been made that they're no longer investigating. I think they told him to stop looking into it because whatever excuse they gave him was they're worried about being called to testify or whatever the case is, and that they turned it over to UVU because it's a pretty rock solid case against Tyler Robinson. I'm pretty sure that even though you have somebody arrested, charges filed, and currently like on their way to trial, even during trial, just because you have somebody, there might be other people involved. I'm pretty sure you can still prosecute and get a conviction while simultaneously still be investigating the case, looking for other connections or other guilty parties. I don't think you have to have the whole thing done before you go to trial. I don't think that's the case. So I'm not sure what the point there is. FBI was assisting, local PD was handling it from there. Right. But if they're looking at out of state ties, that would be the FBI's purview. So they would probably continue to investigate any leads that might come in from that. Now, if it's local ties to like that SLC group or whatever, I feel like that would maybe fall under Utah authority, right? And I don't know that Joe Kent would even know what if they're investigating. I mean, especially now.
Answer was always like, okay, like if you're saying that in order to continue an investigation and to do my job and to potentially get and hopefully get to the truth, that I might have to, go to court and testify and talk about what we did, I was always okay with that, and so that's not me volunteering for.
Nikki for Freedom. Cash said they were still investigating. Do you remember how long ago that was? I mean, I have to assume that they're still doing something. Somebody's still doing something. But this point that he makes right here, this sucked because I seen a lot of people on like our side of the aisle pushing this crap that Joe Kent said he wants to testify. Oh, he's a piece of shit. He wants to testify and try to get Tyler Robinson off, which isn't what Joe Kent said at all. He just said if he was called to testify that he would. It's not what he's seeking. And I don't think they're going to do it anyway. I don't see what good Joe Kent would do for their defense. I just don't. Doesn't make any sense. And who Jarbot, I forget his full tag on X. He was in that live last night and he brought up a good point. So if it's classified information, even if they had Joe Kent testify and there was evidence, that would be classified. And I don't believe he would need approval to classify or to testify using classified information. So if he were to testify and bring up classified stuff, that would still be like some type of violation or something, I believe. It sounded like he was fairly knowledgeable, like he had gone to law school. I don't know if he became a lawyer or not, but he sure sounded like he knew what he might be talking about. I'll say that. Save Smiles. Chat is cracking me up. So I'm rambling or I'm going on a point and I'll like slightly glance at chat and I'm trying to see if there's any, and you guys are just off. I don't know what the hell is going on. I have no idea. I know it's late. I really, really have to pee. Bad. Like super bad. Have to pee. So I'm going to end this shit show. It was a wonderful Friday evening. I hope you guys had a little bit of fun. I really wish that socials, whatever that thing was, I wish that would have been better. I wish we would have had somebody like a Diligent come back in or a Blake Bednarz. That would have been great if Blake hopped in and had the balls to say anything. He was lurking in there. That would have been fantastic. But we got what we got. Can't always be a strike. But it was fun. It was fun. I had a good time. I have no idea. I have no plans. I have nothing. I'll probably drop a video tomorrow at some point. Just for shits and giggles. I'd like to go through this interview more, or even the Alex Jones one. I might have to do a video on the Alex Jones interview. Because even though Alex I don't know what the hell's going on with Alex, but Alex is always going to have a special place in my heart. I don't expect much from Alex Jones anymore other than entertainment. And the drunker he gets on a podcast, the better it's going to be. So, Alex, if you ever see this, keep drinking, bud. That's probably a little fuck. Anyway, guys, I got to go pee. Thank you for all the super chats, everybody that came in and tossed around any knowledge. The Tiger stuff was fun. I appreciate you guys, and we will catch you in the next one.